Ladies love the skin.
Ow.
Bring it a little bit closer. The good skin, that is. That's why having a proper skincare routine is very important, and you need to feel the teach. The process is so easy, just 4 steps. You got your daily face wash. That's gonna clean your face up nice and right. You got your exfoliator scrub. That's gonna open up your pores. You got your AM moisturizer with the SPM 20, which is gonna protect you from the sun. You also got your PM moisturizer, which is gonna make sure your skin is protected throughout the night. Teej has tons of reviews from dedicated customers across the world. I know I said a lot, but it's okay, because guess what? It comes with an instruction card to explain to you in detail what to do morning and night.
And because Teej is sponsoring this video, they're offering you an amazing deal. Just click the first link in the description to get 30% off your first skincare system and a free gift. Plus, as a member, you'll also get 20% off for life. By the way, both gifts you're choosing from are a $20 value and a complete game changer. A silicone body scrubber or a nail and face grooming kit. Personally, I prefer the silicone body scrubber. I don't like using towels when I travel, so the body scrubber is an excellent way to open up the pores and get the body clean. So don't wait any longer. Click the first link in the description to start your skincare journey today.
Maintaining your beard isn't just style, it's self-respect. A well-grown beard boosts confidence and leaves a lasting impression. Elevate your look. Embrace the importance of beard care today.
You guys may have seen it, but Ocho shares the benefits of dating women with children. I'm curious to get you guys' opinions on this. I'll go ahead and run this clip.
Conversation, because I ain't dating you unless you got kids. You got to have one, maybe two, because for one, everybody eats for one. But I just like women that have kids. And somebody asked me on Instagram, why they got to have kids? Because women with kids have structure. They have discipline because they have kids, and women that don't have kids, they never have snacks in the pantry. I like to get up 3, 4 in the morning and get a Capri Sun and steal some of the kids' snacks. And women that don't have kids don't never have no food, Unc. And you know what they always want to do?
Go out and eat.
With no kids, always want to go out to eat and give looks like it's a goddamn fashion show. This ain't no my fashion show. I'm hungry. 3 in the morning. Capri Sun. Do you know what Capri Sun tastes like at 3 in the morning after a session?
Nah, hopefully I'm sleeping at 3 a.m.
Now you ain't hear me.
After a session.
Do you know
yes,
after man?
Yeah, Ojo, you know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you something. I ain't trying to be funny. Please tell me you've had a honey bun in the microwave, warm it up for 12 seconds, nice and hot with a Capri Sun.
No, I ain't never had
a zebra cake.
Oh, I love them zebra cakes. Yeah, I have zebra cakes. I don't like to eat after one of them sessions. I just want something cool. Cause my heart beating real fast.
Yeah, okay. I understand. Well, for me, I purposely first time, and I can tell you a story because we family. I can tell you, I was dating a woman. She was about, I was probably 27 at the time, and she had kids. She was about 53. She was 53. I was 27, 20. Yeah, she was about 53. I stayed the night and whatever, and it was time to go. She woke me up 3 in the morning and say, "Baby, you got to go. You can't stay here." I said, "What you mean?" I say, you came here and you did your business and what you need to do. Now I'm gonna give you a snack and a Capri Sun, but you got to go. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, yeah. I did the walk of shame with food. At least she kicked me out with food. Now I felt bad, but at least she sent me home with something to eat and something on my stomach. Now, a single woman, no food, no nothing. I'm just talking about my experiences. They always want to go eat.
That's happened. That's happened.
They want to put that on. Yeah, what?
It was a little lengthy clip, man. But some things that struck out to me was when he was saying women with children have structure and discipline. Structure and discipline. It's kind of hard if you're single out there, it's hard trying to find a woman with no kids. You're going to have to damn near go younger. Or if you find somebody around your age and they don't have kids, then you're starting to question why they don't have kids. What's going on? Why they single, right? So I want to go ahead and open up this dialogue, get you guys' opinions about it. Dating with children, do they have structure and discipline? You want to go ahead and kick it off?
I just want to say that turtle brownies. I don't know if y'all had them before. Oh my god, man! That on the snack side, and you got to freeze them Capri Suns, and you can get them homemade. It's real easy to make them Rice Krispie treats. All it is the butter and marshmallows and rice. Hey, that should be so good. Life with kids and these sweets in the house. You just see me smashing fruit roll ups and drinking high seas because high sea fire too. He ain't lying. And you got to put it in the microwave like 4 seconds. Not long enough to melt it, but just long enough to warm it. Oh my God, that should be such a hit. I damn near want some now. Nani, if you watch it, can you bring me some Rice Krispie treats? About the structure. I would assume depend on the age of your kids, but I don't think that's a guarantee. I think if I was single trying to date a woman with kids, it probably would be to make sure that they're a woman. In this day and age, shit. With the BBLs and the, you know what I'm saying? You never know. That's dinner the only way. And there's some people that I seen that got kids, and I'm like, maybe they adopted because I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Y'all never got that feeling like, that might not be a woman. It's risky nowadays. This shit real risky. It's super risky. If you looking at somebody like, I don't know, maybe that's just me. But
Marcus, that's just you.
You ain't never looked at nobody and be like, I don't know. And I just passed,
bro.
I'm
just gonna tell you, bro. I am not touching it if it's not super feminine. Certain things, big hands, those are very hard to go away, right? Broad shoulders, anything that's like not feminine is automatically a deal breaker, right? So it's very few women or wannabe women who would be able to fool me. I can't see it because I've always been attracted to femininity. Anything if you have a single masculine feature, it's a deal breaker.
Trev, you don't want to play this game. Joe, want to play this game? If JR pulling up pictures and asking you to say male or female, I bet you will get 40% right.
Hey, no, bro. I do tattoos, so I come across a lot of people fairly often. And I can honestly say, and I would say that I'm a really good judge of this. But there was a few times where I was like, man, I had to go and check their ID. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, okay. Bet.
The hands, bro. The hands. It's all in the hands, bro. Most of these dudes don't have small hands. They don't have a surgery yet for small hands. Go for the hands. Long feet, too. Definitely long feet. You wearing like a size 12. Like, come on, man. Look at the feet and the hands, and you're cool. I promise you. Go for the hands. Y'all looking at the wrong things. You can't look at these body parts that are able to be altered. That's trash. You got to go for the hands. There's certain things that you just gonna know, man. Like, nah, the bone structure. They got biceps. Nah, son. Look, I'll venture out and say if I met a person in person, it's impossible for it to happen to me. And I say that proudly. It's impossible for it to happen because I'm going to know. I'm going to check everything. I pay attention to detail. It will never. I'm married now, so it's too late. But it never happened, and it never would have ever happened. And if I'm no longer married, it still will never happen because I'm going to make sure that it's no way. There's no way. They can't fool you, bro. You could tell. You could tell, man. You can tell. No, they can't. Maybe they can fool you. They can't fool me.
Tell you, bro.
Ain't no way. Has this happened to you before?
No, never me like trying to holler at them or nothing like that. But you know what I'm saying? In the business, setting, I'm, you know what I'm saying, prepping their tattoo, and while I'm talking to them, it's like, man, I can't tell if this is a dude or a female.
So you found out the hard way. Pause.
He ain't found out.
I found the ID.
I'm gonna say one name, Janet Mock. I want y'all fellas to look that individual up. Trev, you would have got caught. That impossible.
Nope.
That you said.
Bullshit.
Do you know who Janet Mock is?
That's bullshit.
I don't want to know. No, I'm not going to look for it just because it's a dude. No, I'm cool.
Yeah, they would have.
I'm telling you, man. Y'all wilding. Y'all wilding. Y'all wilding.
On my life.
Are we getting a bit real? We getting a bit real. I'm gonna get back with the joint, but so check it, right? First off, Ocho need to stop stealing them damn kids' snacks. That's just rude. That's just rude.
No,
Here's the one thing that I noticed. They are good. I'm surprised he eat like that. I guess he's not an athlete anymore, so he can. I stopped eating sweets a little while ago, but I miss him real bad. And annually I have a cheesecake to myself for my birthday. But all right, so one thing that really resonated with me was that he said, "Women I'm trying to date," right? And I'm going to tell you, I used to date a lot of single mothers too, because I'll tell you, there are some advantages. They are very nurturing, right? Yeah, they will have some snacks, they will have some food and things like that. And they treated you better because they knew they were at a great disadvantage and it was harder for a man to be interested in them for the long term. He said date. He didn't say marry, right? He's not trying to marry women with kids because now they're your responsibility. There's very little engagement that he has to do, and it's all elective. There is no responsibility involved when you're dating. When you are in a long-term relationship, that dynamic completely changes. Now they are your responsibility. And if he would have said he's trying to marry a woman with kids, that would be very different. So all you single mother ladies, I don't want y'all to get too hyped. It's not against them, because that is for some people. My personal choice would have never been that, because I'm selfish and I wanted to start my own legacy. That was just me, and that was a prerequisite for me in my life because I didn't have kids, right? If some unfortunate event happened now, and you know, it is what it is. My mind would be different because I have children, right? But would I have somebody with children? Hell no. I am never changing another diaper unless it's my grandchildren. I am never going that whole again. That is a lot of work. And if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it well. So if I'm going to take on the responsibility of a parent, it would be full blown. And I would not want to deal with that responsibility again. But the second part of my life, I'm trying to do me. For real, I want to relax. And I would never want to take that on. It's a thankless job a lot of the times. If women decide that they don't want to be with you anymore, if you didn't legally adopt them, then you could bond with that child. You break up, and then now she can take them away from you forever. And there's nothing you can legally do about it. So you have to take all of these things into consideration. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it, but you just have to go into the situation understanding the risks that you're taking when you decide you want to deal with a woman who has children already. I'll leave it different.
All right, let me go ahead and go to Darwin. What are your thoughts about it?
Similar to what Trev said, I think he was very careful when he said dating. But the reason why I think he used that term because of the platform. I think the translation is the best women to smash is single mom, not necessarily date. I mean, they're good for recreational use if you're just running into one. But don't get it twisted. I mean, if you have the means to be able to care for a woman and her kids, then you can date whoever you want. So I know there's a lot of back and forth all over social media about single moms and dating them and vetting them for wives. But it's the only reason why it's back and forth is because you have a lot of single moms think that their value is the same as or similar to the woman to the left and right, which don't have kids or, you know, the track record that they carry. So there's a chance that you can, you know, vet one out and marry one, given you connect with one, you know what I'm saying, or have a history with a woman. You may find something valuable, you know, in her that's you're willing to, you know, take care of the kids. But like I said, again, the issue that we have on social media and the arguments back and forth is that shit, you don't qualify for these type of guys or whatever type of guy the woman is trying to see. So I think the transparency in the words, you can get caught up in that this dating thing, and I'm glad that Trev kind of, you know, uncovered that, you know, he wasn't talking about marriage because the responsibility comes with that. So it ain't really much to say about it, man. Like, I hope nobody read into that and just take it as, oh man, they just pulled back the veil. Now all the brothers are gonna go to. I don't think his influence is that strong enough on men for him to have men following behind him. You get what I'm saying? So I'll pass the mic.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and go to you, Viz. What are your thoughts about it, man? Think women with children have discipline and structure?
You said me?
Yeah, you, Viz.
Oh, okay, my bad. Actually, hold on, let me change this real quick. So I actually have a blended family. Um Early on I was against it. I dated women with children. Um but it wasn't too often, it wasn't serious. But once I met my fiance, uh it was just one of those deals of where, it just worked. It clicked. So I was more than willing to accept, the children
What
that she had before me.
what's the age and does it matter?
I think the age does matter for sure. Um, she has a now 13-year-old son and 11-year-old daughter. But I personally think it just depends on the person, and what it is that they're willing to invest into, because it is an investment. And like Trev said, yeah, if everything goes to shit, then that bond and relationship that I did build with her kids and vice versa, is going to be affected. That it was actually a conversation that I had with one of my homies, with a good friend of mine, an older gentleman, where he was in that same position. He was with his wife, I don't 15, 20 years. They had kids as well, and they split up. And shit, he said it flat out, like, man, that shit was tough because you done built this relationship with these kids, and once it's all over, you you don't necessarily cut it off, but it's like it's that awkward, kind of awkward moment or whatnot, or feeling on his end. So uh before I walked into it and committed to it, I definitely considered those avenues. And like I said, I felt um that the reward was worth the risk. And that's what life is all about.
All right. Nelson, I'm gonna go to you. You had a question?
Yeah, a lot of the men who are like, I never like seriously dated a single mother because I've been married for a long time. But is discipline something like, so when they talk about some of the things they say is that they don't want to be in a relationship because they can't discipline the child, or what's some of the other things they say? Have those been issues for you? Are those, is it like, what are the things that are issues as far that typically people have, and if you got a solution for them?
Yeah, no, that was definitely an issue early on. Just being able to understand how to manage myself and also manage my interactions with them. If it was something that I was against, that I don't go for, but their dad does, then it's kind of like one of those deals where, all right, I let it be known, but I also, what I'm saying, keep that boundary set so that so that it's not cross. It's not unnecessary complications. But just being an adult and communicating, like, hey, X, Y, and Z, this is how it is now. And said, if you don't like it, I get it, but that's whatever. So not to get too personal, one thing was taking out the garbage. So her mom, his mom, primarily took out the garbage. So for me, it's like I come over, the garbage full. Hey man, take the garbage out. But with his family, that is when he goes to his dad's house, his dad is taking out the garbage or he's working. You know what I'm saying? So mom is taking out the garbage. Nobody's enforcing it at his dad's house. So once I come and say, "Hey, you're old enough now to take out the garbage," it was just one of those things of just repetition. So again, walking into it with that mindset of understanding of what it is that I'm taking on, the challenges that come with it, and understanding how to manage it so that again there's no unnecessary tension. That was really one of the big reasons why I did stay away from dating women with children. Because if they got kids, at some point you're gonna have to deal with their kids' dad. And if he a asshole or if he a good guy, that's always 50-50. And then once you meet him, if he feel intimidated or he cool, you know what I'm saying? So it's so many other factors that come with it. But for me, a big part of the decision making was just that it worked out, so.
All right, appreciate that, Viz. Now, so I'm gonna go to you. I know you dealt with some families and talked with a gang of people. What have been some of your experiences with blended families, single mothers, structure, discipline, all that good stuff?
It's a mixed bag, to be honest. I mean, you can get one of two extremes. You can get what you see a lot of times is you see a lack of structure and discipline because a lot of times single parents got to fly by the seat of their pants. They, sometimes they are overly involved in their child's life where they got them in every extracurricular activity. They like their schedule is really just based around always doing something with the kids. So there's no structure in other areas. Or you have the one that is, she's real loose with her relationship to where you would think that the child is the grandparents' child because they're always leaving them with them. They always going out doing their things, still going out, clubbing at night, things like that. I don't think being a single mother is like inherently means that there's going to be structure and discipline because it depends on how she was raised as well. She might have been raised in a house without any structure, without any discipline. I believe the men are the ones that are supposed to bring that element to it. And a lot of times they run into problems because when they do finally get a man in their life, they try to they try to dictate what the structure and what the discipline is going to look like. So you see a lot of men that have problems with disciplining the child, with setting rules for the house, for enforcing rules. It's always like she's watching over everything he says, how he says it, what he's doing, how close he is to the child. So you never really feel like you feel like you're almost like an outsider inside the relationship sometimes. So I don't think there are inherent benefits to dating single women. I don't think it's women with children. I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just it depends on who the person is.
So obviously it's subjective. I mean, and when you talk about, I don't think I touched on structure when I went, but when you talk about structure, if you want to add structure to a woman's life, it's going to require you to spend some money. It's going to require you to break down some resources. So given that she already has structure, he can bypass that and get to the panties, which further strengthens my argument that it was for recreational use. But we can't just put one blanket over single moms to say that they all have structure, or the women that aren't single moms don't have structure. It's objective. So it's important that every man touch on his experience. And I think that's typically what we're doing right now. Just touch on your experience of how it unfolded when you dated a single mom and see if we could get an intersection that cross paths and see if we meet with, is there some consistent common things or common denominators between all of our experiences. I did date one a long time ago. I think I was in the military. It's about I think it was 15 years ago, maybe. The experience was okay. You know what I'm saying? I did see the father of the kid a lot. I guess that's a good thing. Some may say that's a bad thing, depending on how insecure you are as a man and selfish with the time and attention of the woman. But other than that, it's just like dating any other girl. You know what I'm saying? Granted, you don't have to provide any resources, but when you talk about marriage, I think that's where the line is drawn. It's a whole different ball game, and that's when you start seeing the common intersections between dating single moms as a whole, where you can kind of throw a blanket on them. I know Sweeney is ready to go because I think he's the champion for dating single moms.
I've dated both, of course. And I would say it's a mix. I've been involved with some women that had no structure. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just chaos. And I've dated women that was with no kids, and they had their shit together. You know, solid career, the whole shebang. I've even been involved with some women that with no kids, and they was just out here free balling. They just kicking it every weekend, you know what I'm saying, type shit. So, I mean, it just varies, you know, and I think it depends on where that man is at that time in his life, because it's some things you just not gonna deal with, and some things you will deal with. So when I was younger, shorty that's just out here kicking it every weekend, hell yeah, shit, let's pull up, you know what I'm saying. But as you get older, you know, for some men, is oh, shorty, you drinking again? You know what I'm saying? You going well? You know, so I think it just varies.
All right, go ahead, Sweeney.
I do have a quick question for the fellas. How old were y'all when y'all got married? If you are married, how old are y'all? How old were y'all when y'all got married? And if you're not married, how old are you currently as a single man?
I was 27 when I got married.
35, 34.
Say how old you are too. How old are you now?
Oh, I'm 40. I'll be 41 in September.
Okay. I'm 40.
56.
Oh hell. What about you, Trev?
27, and I'll be 45 in September.
Okay. To be real with y'all,
Wait, Trev, you say how old?
I'll be 45 September.
Okay.
No cap.
Kenny, how old are you?
51.
51. Okay. And Hank, I can't remember exactly how old you were.
48.
Okay.
Hey man, I don't believe Kenny is 51.
Honestly, I don't believe that Hank is 48. I think that nigga younger, bro. But no, though, to be perfectly honest with y'all, I can't say that I have much dating experience as a fully grown man, if that makes sense. I've been with my wife since I was 21, and I was in college since 18. Before that, so most of my dating experience of dealing with women was between high school and 21 years old while I was in college. So the woman that I married was a single mother at the time, at 21 years old. So I can't say that I've had any real experience like out there dating as a grown ass man. I can say that the woman that I dealt with, she was cool. From what I've seen, I mean, I was around pretty early, so she was still a baby at the time, so I can't really speak to what structure she really had. Pretty much when we moved in together, we worked. You know what I mean? Whatever, I was able to do whatever any normal parent would be able to do. So I can't say that I can accurately answer this question because I don't know. All I can do is base it off of what y'all experiences had, what kind of experiences y'all had, because there's a difference between getting with someone at 21 or dating at 21 and then being out there and dating between the ages of 24 to 35 or to 40 and things like that. There's a whole different world of experiences that comes with that, because you deal with a totally different group of women. They could be far more demanding. Their mindset, their expectations are different. Like I was dealing with college girls, they ain't had no damn expectations. You know what I mean? You come to the dorm room with a bottle of not Crown, with a bottle of fucking E&J, and they was going. So
so let me ask you this, Winnie. Based on like today's standards, and you talk to, hundreds of people, right? You talk to a lot of people, and just based on their experiences, if you had to advise your son, right, or any other brother who will come to you and ask you if it's a great idea or not, would you say that they would be better off searching for a woman who doesn't have children yet, or should they just take that on? Just based on the experience that you hear, gripes that may have or don't have, or pleasant experiences that you hear about. If you had to solely based off of the experiences that you've heard from individual in the current dating market, would you suggest to a younger person?
I would say that based on men who already have children tend to be a little more open-minded, so they tend to have slightly better experience, but it hasn't been great. From the men that I spoke to, they have not had the best of experiences with women who've had children. And, granted, when you talk to women who have children, they all sound normal at first, but I'm not dating them. I'm just talking to them as a person from the outside, and everything sounds good when you're talking about yourself. But when you talk to the opposite sex, or you talk to the men that deal with them, they have not had the best experiences. So if I was talking to my son, I probably would be like, I don't think it'd be best for you, especially as a man with no children, to deal with a single mother unless you really give a shit about that woman. Like, you have to really like that woman for you to take on that. Because I think the Bruiser kind of spoke to this, because there used to be a time where being a stepfather was revered. It was something that, you know what I mean? It was something that men understood, and it wasn't, but now it's not. And I'm not even saying by other men, but the women used to appreciate the men that they were with. But now it's almost as if it's an expectation that, oh, well, because I have children, you need to be this, 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 and this. And even if you come in as a man, they do tend to have the experiences of, you can walk away from me at any time and then you take the kid away from me. Or I don't get the level of respect in the household that I should get, because you think that because I'm not that child's father that I don't have the same rights that you do, even though I'm still taking care of them like you do. So, and then dealing with the other father issues. I've heard that. There's a lot of difficulty with dealing with single mothers. I wouldn't necessarily say is a good bet.
All right. Just so everybody know, man, I'm not 56, I'm 41. For the record.
Appreciate that, because I was sold on the Beijing guy beard if he was fit in your 50s.
Yeah. Where to go to you, Kenny P? What are your thoughts about it, sir?
You using the initial using Ocho Cinco to start the conversation. That's one of the worst people that you could use. 8 children, 7 different baby mamas giving you advice about finding stability with a baby mama. I've dated a baby mama when I was 26. That's when I made the transition from messing with the tender love girls to an experienced woman that know how to do things to you that the others didn't. They know how to cook a hot plate for you. You didn't pay attention. You were young and dumb and didn't look long. You were just reactive because she know how to please you, put a plate on the table, and you would like say hi to the kids, but you would just keep it moving because you were dead set on getting that comfort. But then it came a point in time as time went on, you would say, hey, you shouldn't do that. You ain't my daddy. And I'm like, whoa, I'm a little too young for all of this. And then one day I meet the pops and he sized me up. I size him up. It's a bad bet most of the time when you entertain that. Coming into a situation, being a single man, you're eating the cost of someone else's bad decision. And I don't think that that would be the best thing for working out long term. The percentages are low that you'll find someone that just got a bad beat with men. This is not a Tyler Perry movie where you'll awaken a woman and she has a purpose and she just needs to cleave to a man that would love her, and all the kids will fall in line and flowers will come out the air. Nah, that's for fairy tales. And at 51, I've taken many lumps. You could look in the back of my head. I still got some. Baby mother number 2. Think I'd learn. I thought I would get the same thing. I still got a mark on my lip right here from when I tried to put her out and she showed me something different. Lie. You understand that? But to land a plane real quick, nah. It's a bad beat. It's not feasible. You may find an anomaly, but that'll be the exception to the norm.
Go ahead, Brother Hank.
So I'm gonna be honest, and all of these cats up here lying, talking about they wouldn't date no baby mama or marry them either. They lying their goddamn ass off. Let that right baby mama. Let that right baby mama come their way. These dudes are wifing the shit out of them. Bringing them in the living will, signing the deeds to the house over and every goddamn thing. Y'all know y'all would. Y'all need to stop this bullshit ass YouTube line y'all doing up there. Shout out to his age. Shout out to my brother JR. Let me say this. I've been a father ever since I was 20. My daughter was born when I was 20. So do I have a lot of experience of dating women without kids as what we consider adult age? No, not a lot. I have dated some, even though I had a kid without kids. Their structure is like Ojo Cinco said, it's limited to none because they don't have anything. The only structure they have is they probably other than going to work, there's no structure for most of them. Other than going to work, the most of them that I've seen, I interact with, they didn't have none. I mean, the house was in chaos. They just moved. I mean, no type of plans. They had no type of budget. They as far as the schedule, it was all over the place. Nothing wasn't set in stone. You could never get them locked down on anything. I still deal with adults, women with no kids, because my son is a young adult. My daughter, well, she's married now, but some of her friends are young adult. I interact with them. I talk to them. When I have cookouts, they come over, we have conversations, and just see how they move, how they act. I ask them to bring something to the cookout. These motherfuckers forgot what I told them. Now, maybe because they high. I don't know what it is. So then they got to run out to the store and go get it. And I put it in a text message, but it is what it is. But as far as me, will I date a woman with kids? Yeah, I have. As a man with kids, I prefer to date a woman with kids because they already understand what it is to have a child. Saying my schedule is limited. I can only do certain things or do certain things at certain times because I have a child. I have responsibilities. So with a woman who has kids, already knows that understanding. we can respect each other's time and energy, and there's not much of a high demand when you deal with women, kids, and when you have kids too. As far as like right now, the lady I'm in a relationship with, she has older kids. All the kids, her oldest is 20, her youngest is 16, and that's perfect for me because now they're at that age they could independently move on their own. They're off to college. 2 of them off to college, so it works well for me. I'm okay with it now. If I had like, I think the question was you had for I don't know if it was what I think Sweeney. Would I recommend my son? No, I wouldn't tell my son to date a woman with kids. No, because you don't have kids, buddy. Now, if you had a child, I would say, man, you might want to get a woman with kids, man. These women without kids in your era, yeah, they gonna demand a whole lot. You got to move a different way. You know what I'm saying? When you're dealing with a woman with kids, you know what I'm saying? You have to. You know what I'm saying? I don't have any issues with the baby fathers. Matter of fact, when we took her kids to her ex-husband, met them in Arkansas, the man told me thank you for bringing his kids safe and sound. You know what I'm saying? We shook hands and that was it. It wasn't no animosity, nothing going on. I mean, you know, I don't believe in that. We 2 men. Now, if you mad because with your ex-wife, you need to get over that shit. I mean, you know, move on. You know, y'all didn't work out. That's his loss, my gain. But I landed there.
All right. I'm gonna highlight a few points about dating someone with kids. How he or she treats you, how he or she treats their mother is the way that they're gonna treat you. So if they don't have any respect for the mom, then they're gonna 9 times out of 10 gonna treat you the same way. And I guess that falls under that category with structure. The age difference is key too. So if you have younger kids and you're dating someone with older kids, 9 times out of 10 it's not gonna be able to work because you don't have as much flexibility as the other person. So if those kids are not within the same age range as you, it may pose like some difficulty. If somebody has like more than one child and you're trying to date them, it's a lot of responsibility, and it's going to take away from you guys being able to have a great time. So if one person has a heavy load, the other person don't, then it's going to just kind of be offset. The advice that I tell my son is to make sure you have a nuclear family because it ain't nothing nice being on the other side. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. I understand why people say when they don't have kids, that when they look for somebody who don't have kids because they don't have kids. It makes a lot of sense. Whenever somebody does experience it, it's a whole different ball game. It's a whole different ball game. So I advise people to be responsible where you plant your seed and try to make sure that you keep that family together because there's a benefit for the family and there's a benefit for those kids. But it's just one of those things. I mean, every situation is situational, right? And if you can make it work, then kudos to you. But that is a challenging task for anybody on both sides.
And JR, you are absolutely right about if you have a kid, older kids, and you try to date someone with younger kids. Because I don't know if y'all experience this, but this happens with friends. Like, have you ever tried to, you know what I mean, plan things with friends that had babies and your kids are 15, 16, 17 years old, and they kids are only like, y'all the same age, but they had their kids a little later than you, and all their kids are toddlers. Shit, you barely can get them out the house. That's you, Marcus? You the one that can't get out the
I think at the end of
It's
the
a
day,
hassle, man. You got to put all 3 of them kids in the car seat. You got to pack diapers. It's a whole routine. It take at least an hour to get everything ready to get them to go someplace. And then the nap, so that is different.
I mean, I think everybody's talking about actually getting past all of the layers, the common layers that most women show you. Like, it's already challenging enough to go into a woman's life that has kids and provide structure, especially if you are a man at a young age. Because I think if for the most part, a lot of us who did date him, we was at a young age still trying to find structure in our own life, or maybe I would speak for myself, financial stability on my own, and then trying to date a single mom that just didn't, it was just a wreck. So I think the challenge is getting past that layer right there. And then you still have the original barrier of dating women, period, that they still are not excluded from. So now you got all the regular nuances, like, okay, is she fit? Is she feminine, submissive, cooperative, and all this stuff? Does she have qualities that lead to relationship longevity? You still got to go through that. So like, and that's what we be trying to tell women. You're adding layers whenever you come into the table, or even to try to date when you have kids, because now once we get past that part, which is really going to be hard to see past that part until you actually get into the relationship and get into cohabitation. So it's like a gamble. It's like you need cerebral or whatever. What was Professor X using? It was cerebral. Like you need some shit like that to be able to know that, hey, all these is gonna fall in, in line. You know what I'm saying? And you just can't. So it's really a gamble.
Yeah.
And I get what Hink's
get
saying,
that.
man.
Now,
I think Hink is speaking from.
You need to know this before you meet the kids, though. You should know all that shit before you meet the kids. If you don't know it before you meet the kids,
true that. There's some women who will bring out their children on the first date. One of my homies told me that happened to him last week. The woman brought the kid the first date, and I think that's wild. That's wild.
Well,
what are you doing? You're a poor mother at that point.
I'm not saying
that's
meeting
terrible.
The kids. I'm saying that the chemistry between the kids, and her, as far as meshing together in the household. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't see past that unless you go and actually go into the relationship and try to see. Because let's be honest, a woman with kids knows those are faults. I know they don't probably like to use the term because of sensitivity, but they're gonna have their best foot forward in the beginning of the stages of the relationship. So all of the truth and all of the real things about her, all of the nasty shit and the nuances is gonna unfold later on. It's gonna be a shocker. So now you got to try to, like, okay, what kind of tolerance do I got for this? So like you can't see those things. You just gotta. And I think if she's beautiful enough, you could be blinded enough to where you kind of, some guys just, what they call it, simping, kind of just brush that off. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if I can agree with you on that, Darwin. I really feel as if people, the more often that you deal with a person, I feel like you will eventually see what it is that they are that they don't put forward.
That's what I said.
Well,
it sounded like you said that you'll find out after everything has unraveled, and once you're in it, then that's when you'll start seeing that, oh, okay, no, this, she woo, or man, I don't like where did this come from, woo type of deal. That's what it sounded like you were saying.
No, what I was saying was, meet the woman.
He got cooked.
When you first meet anybody, they're gonna try to impress you.
Right.
Impression is important. Hey,
Right.
look, I'm a good person. But these things may not be consistent throughout the entirety of the relationship. You get what I'm saying? It may be just that. I think I want to call it phases. The beginning phase of a relationship is always
honeymoon phase.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. And I think.
But what I'm saying though, even during that honeymoon phase, you know what I'm saying, if you're really aware, taking away that she may be beautiful, she, you know what I'm saying, she got the golf 3000 double hand twist, the whole you dig, you know what I'm saying, it's amazing. Even if you know what I'm saying, are still able to be aware outside of that, whatever those, you know what I'm saying, red flags may be, or yellow flags, whatever the case may be, you're going to see that still at some point, because you can't hold on to, you can't create a facade, you know what I'm saying, consistently for so long. At some point, something is going to show and be like, oh, okay, I peeped that. You know what I'm saying, this is, okay, I see this is how you handle this situation, or whatever.
But if we being honest as men, we could say that certain things that a woman can do or provide for you or bring to the table, can compensate for some of the things that allow a man to kind of like, oh, okay, all right, I could tolerate that.
I mean,
You get what I'm saying? If she, like you just said, I think you said Gawk 3000 or something. Hey,
yeah,
Gawk 3000 double hand twist.
You spending too much money,
exact.
like kind of slack off on the groceries, but she giving you head, like, okay, all right, cool. We'll talk about it later. You know what I'm saying? You just push shit off. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, but
I think if we're gonna be human beings and be honest, we could say that we kind of do that.
No, yeah, no, I agree with you. I only use that because I understand that, to your point, we'll sometimes use that as compensation, you know, for whatever it is that we, you know, are not a fan of. But I feel like this, even with dating anyone, and I know that you're married. I'm sure that there's something that you may not agree with that your wife does, but it's like, okay, this is another person, and I accept it because this is a part of her. It's not extreme, but it does, you know what I'm saying? It does.
It's not a deal breaker, but
Right.
you're right. There is actually things about, you know, my wife that, if we being completely honest, that I don't like, I dislike. because it's no, I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm not gonna be the cliche guy to sit here and say I married a woman that's completely perfect across the board and there's nothing she can do wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I have an audience myself, so it's important for me to be authentic to be able to win the I'm not gonna even give you that speech. Anyways, I'm married to this woman and I have vows, you know, and I believe in the covenant between us. So anything that, you know, come in between us, I have, now don't get me wrong, I have deal breakers. I have lines that I don't want to be crossed. And I think every man has it. And it's subjective to that particular man based on his own tolerance or his traumatic experience, one may say. But for me, I'm married to this woman and I'm willing to endure some of the things that I dislike. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what
I'm not
marriage
gonna
is,
sit here.
right?
I'm not gonna sit here and say I've completely passed on them. But I will tell you that day to day, I believe marriage is a constant grind, and those things we're constantly working on. And I'm letting her know that because I love her so much, I'm gonna be here to work on those things until I kill over. You know what I'm saying? And maybe we'll work it out, maybe don't. But I'm in for the fight because that's the one I'm married. That's my wife and I love.
But within the context,
you said endure though. Endure. Oh my God,
I was about to get on them about that word.
Endure. That's a tough one.
What would be a better word, a better term to use than to? You could say deal with. You could say endure. You could say put up with. You could say tolerate.
There are certain
Tolerate sounds better than tolerate. Compromise,
words.
tolerate. It's a little bit better than. And I mean, I'm not saying you used a bad word. It just put me in a certain space when you said endure. When I think of endure, it has a connotation of like torture.
The word could be triggering, but it's all based on the details.
God damn, endure.
Wait, somebody, bro, hold on. So you saying tolerate sounds easier than endure?
Okay,
and why is that? And why is that?
Viz, watch this. We had a show not too long ago, and I was using a certain word, and he had a whole conniption, and we are giving you that same treatment 360. And you standing on your pulpit trying to defend endure. When you marry a woman, you're the biblical man, you know. I like that. You got the nuclear family respect. If you were having a conversation with friends and your wife is there and you say that within context, like you just said to us, you think she would find that favorable?
Sure, she'd know I'm being completely honest.
She would find what you just said favorable.
I don't know if I would use the term favorable, but the stuff that I speak about aren't intended for people, my wife or anybody, to find favorable. As long as it's the truth, it's up to them on how they want to accept it, whether it's favorable to them. I think favorable is subjective to the person that's listening to. So I can't tell you, you know, I can't tell you what's favorable to your ears or whatever the way you hear it. You know what I'm saying? As long as I'm speaking the truth, I'm the type of where I don't really give a damn about, you know, how you feel. I'm speaking the truth. Whether
I'm
you
not
find
even gonna
favor in
smoke
my
a bag
words
of
or
that.
not, it doesn't really matter.
But
okay, Darwin, all due respect, I'm not smoking a bag of what you offering right now. Because when you have a wife, it's a whole different discussion that you're gonna have than someone out on the street. You
Well,
understand?
let me put it in the fight for you.
Well, hold on. Let me get it
put
down.
it
Let
in the
me
fight
get
for
it
you
out.
so it can maybe resonate with you.
For you to have that kind of conversation with us and think that you could get that 3-card Monty past us, I don't believe you.
Okay, I don't understand what you're saying, because just because you're using metaphors don't mean you're intelligent.
I'm not using
It just
metaphors.
makes
I'm
it take
speaking
longer
straight.
for us to decipher the words you're saying to get to understand it. So you kind of like holding us up with the metaphors. Just be
Day, what hard words am I using?
I didn't say they were hard. I didn't say they were hard.
You said I'm using metaphors. I'm speaking straight. No allegories. I'm not reading you Old Man on the Sea. The epic.
Okay, so what is Old Man? You just try to debunk what I said using a metaphor.
No, I just gave you a comparison. If I was speaking in allegories or metaphorically, I gave you a straight situation that you said you would have your chest up. You wouldn't be Darwin. You would be Bruiser. You would say you would speak to your wife in truth.
I think the thing I was saying to when me and Viz Povit was speaking, I think you was just playing double dutch, looking for a chance to get back for me from 6 weeks ago. I think you really holding it in, and I think that's a feminine trait in you that is just overpowering to the point where you have the need.
We're not gonna do that.
To be able
okay, Sweeney, let us have it out. Darwin,
no, I'm just saying though. Can't y'all see that? Like, this dude really want to get me.
Hey, that's y'all.
Okay, so what part of me challenging you saying that you would talk that harshly and use those words to your wife rather than somebody else on the street, me trying to poke at you?
So
just having a civil conversation within context.
That is a loaded question, because you said that.
How is that loaded? Okay,
How was that literally about to answer why it was loaded, and you interrupt by asking me, and that doesn't actually make you seem intelligent either. So if you just listen long enough, maybe that may make you seem intelligent. So what I mean by loaded question, when you say that, how can you say something that harsh? When you add that harsh to it, you're predisposing what I said to be harsh, and I don't agree with that. So for me to answer that means that I would have to agree that the things that I said was actually harsh, when I actually said that the things that I was saying was true. And it doesn't matter if the person that's listening to me find them favorable, as long as
God. That was God working right there. All right, so when Trev told you, whoa, another married man said that word seemed a little bit much. Was he challenging you or poking you or trying to get back at you for something 6 weeks ago? Let's put it on the table. You're not my equal intelligence with the intelligence. Not.
Hey, could I take a second to explain that? I'm going to just say why that, and then I'll let y'all do what it do. The reason why I said endure is bad, because if you look at the denotation, it says suffer something painful or difficult.
Exactly.
And it implies that someone is inflicting something on you versus tolerate is an action by yourself. That's the only reason why I said that would be a better word. I know you asked and Viz asked. That's why. Y'all keep going.
But I think I reserve the right to give context to how I used it. And I would most definitely say that in agreement that if it's something that I actually dislike, we're talking about things, I think I stated these are things I dislike. So it's kind of aligned with the definition you said for endure. But I would, for context for myself and personally, I would water it down. It's not, I wouldn't say it's suffering. I wouldn't say it's that extreme as it's stated in the definition. It's more like, okay, this is something I don't like. And if it were up to me, these things would be changed. You know what I'm saying?
He walks it back when you say it, Trev. But
he's
in defense mode when I challenge it. You understand? You're not my equal, intelligent wise. That's why you had Shannon fight your battle.
I tend to get that from people who are
not my equal,
who are at a level of intelligence.
So let me say this real quick. Let me say this. I can understand the connotation of endurance, but I also can kind of understand where he's coming from with that. I would have probably changed endurance to more of like perseverance. Because just even based on counseling in a lot of marriages, there's a lot of men that have been in long marriages that struggle with sex. They struggle with getting it on a regular basis, and that's been something they've gone to counseling about. They talked about. They've been trying to work through. A lot of times guys just give up and just say, this is the way my life is going to be. And so they're enduring a part of the marriage that they're really unhappy with. Whereas the ones that work on it, keep trying to talk about it, keep trying to improve things, they're persevering. They're still suffering in a slight way, but they are actively trying to change that situation. So it's more of like a persevere type of thing. So you can kind of, see it both ways.
You know,
I think
Nelson,
everybody.
Nelson, don't save him. You understand? That's like when your wife is fat and she's at the mirror, you married, and she said, "Baby, how I look in this?" And you said, "Baby, you look good."
No, I actually got a video
wait,
about
or
that.
you can take his way.
Yeah, I don't think you watch my content, and that's even worse. That even makes you look even bad.
Or I don't watch.
I literally put videos and I made them public specifically for you.
Or you can say
you still can't get it right.
Like he said, he was going to say the truth. You're fat.
But wait, man, let me say this real quick.
And we got to transition to the next topic. I know we just spinning around with this one. Viz, just say what you're gonna say. Nobody else, and let's go ahead and move on.
Yeah, I'll just say this real quick. I think that you guys are taking that word to the extreme as if it's consistent. Any relationship that you're in, you're going to endure something at some point. You know what I'm saying? If you're committed to it, in that point, you can't just walk away from it. So in a marriage, when those tough times come and you can't walk away from it, we've made the decision that we're not going to go to bed upset at each other. We now have to put on our adult drawers and have the conversation and endure whatever emotion it is that we're feeling, and figure out how to settle this to continue on. So when I hear him say endure, that's what I think. I feel like tolerating that seems harsher to me. Persevering, that seems to me, it seems like these are all constant and consistent occasions that's happening. So me personally, that's what I hear and feel when I hear those words being used.
All right.
Nah, Viz, you can't get that. I'll leave it there because I know you said you were moving.
Come on. That's bad. That's disingenuous. Yo, JR.
That's me being 100.
You gave him the definition. He went to feeling.
All right, hold on. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. But shout out to everybody that's intelligent, man. I have a huge vocabulary. I'm not gonna sit here and say I got a huge vocabulary. I got a lot of work to do. I got a lot of books I need to read. But one thing that I've learned on these panels is that there's some intelligent people. I can see where I may have missed a beat going to public high school and paying attention to the things that should have been done. So the one thing that I've learned by speaking to people that do have a huge vocabulary, or they use words the correct way, is that you got to understand the meaning of these words. And so when, like, the default and how to measure if you're using it right is to actually go back to the definition and see if you're using it right, because that's going to only make you better. So I believe when Trev read the definition, it's a possibility that we could be using it wrong. We could say, well, like a lot of times when I hear words, I can pick up the context of the words before that word and after to kind of gauge exactly like what it means. And maybe I heard it and don't know the actual definition. And then there's some words I've just been using completely wrong. So if I had to lean somewhere on the spectrum, it'd be to actually look up the word. And if I've been using it incorrectly, then it is. If I made a mistake, I just made a mistake. I can't tell you how many times I've been reading. I'm like, what the hell? I never used that damn word. And that's the honest truth. I never seen it. I mean, I've seen it, but never used it. Just what it is, man. But
hey, JR, can I say something real quick though?
Everybody say that, and then somebody's gonna say something.
Just real quick.
Real quick.
I will say that context does matter, even if somebody uses a word wrong. And we did hear the context in which what Bruiser said. And I personally believe that if him and his wife were sitting here giving a married couple advice, and he said exactly what he said, I guarantee she probably would. Well, I can't guarantee that, but I don't believe she would feel some type of way if he used the word endure.
You not her. Stop.
Well, you also not her, and you assume that she. No, never mind. Go ahead, Jr.
I just want to say y'all use metaphor wrong.
And that's like saying words don't matter too. But go ahead.
Shout out to the Gooch, boy. Y'all better leave my boy alone.
I mean, sometimes people only hear certain words too when you're talking. So somebody could have been saying something and then certain words stick out. I don't know, man. It's one of those things, man.
When you're challenged and offended by somebody and you feel you need to put your guard up, every time someone speaks, that would happen. If I give you a case in point for a certain thing and elaborate on it, and then you still fight it, but another man tells you it, and you're like, oh, okay, let me walk it back a little bit and milk it down. Everybody's seeing that too.
Yeah, and you know what? I completely agree with his sentiment. And I don't think that anything was wrong with what he was said. And I actually appreciate that he was that honest and forthcoming, right? The only problem I had was I didn't want people to get it confused because endure is such a strong word. I didn't want the idea, because we have an audience. It's not just us talking here, right? People are watching, and I don't want anyone to get that interpretation and probably think that he feels that way about his wife when I got the context. Somebody might not, right? So words matter. That's the only reason why I even brought it up. Is because I felt like that was kind of harsh.
That's why I gave context. I didn't just say it.
Can I say this and let's move on?
We gotta move on, man. We gotta move on.
I'm just gonna say one thing, man. Sadly, the most beautiful part of what I said was that I'm gonna endure, tolerate whatever because I love her and that's the wife I chose. I think that's the most important nugget a lot of people miss, and it should be more appreciated than that actual term.
All right, you guys just tuning in. Welcome to King Talk. Let's make sure we hit that like button, man. Thank you guys for the patience of going through that back and forth. Ms. Parker, appreciate the compliment. Moving on to our next topic, which is men are jealous or upset over other people who they have not outworked.
And I'm gonna be real for most men, and we see it in the banter online, but a lot of the times men are jealous or upset over other people who they have not outworked. And women know this. Whenever a man is intimidated by another man, it's not the man himself, it's like the work that he did to get there. And I've noticed whenever people actually put in that work, the ones who actually do, we all get along very well. It doesn't matter whether you're a doctor, firefighter, like when you know your craft, there's a mutual respect because you know how, especially when you're a father, because then it's a balance between kid relationship with a mother and making time for the craft. That's really tough. But that whenever I see someone that's jealous or envious, I'm like, brother, you haven't done the work yet. Because if you did, like, you would have a lot more respect for what it even takes to get here.
I nominate Kenny to go first because I think he's the one that can resonate more with that. He didn't outwork me. Maybe he don't get along with me. So
hold on, y'all. Hold on. We gotta stay on topic, man, because otherwise we're gonna be behind because we got one more topic after this. Let's go ahead and start with Hank. Men are jealous or upset over other people who they have not outworked. I can play the clip again if y'all need me to.
Yeah, can you do it for me, JR? Bruce, off with that bullshit.
All right, here we go. Y'all ready?
Listen, man, I'm gonna be real for most men, and we see it in the banter online, but a lot of the times men are jealous or upset over other people who they have not outworked. And women know this. Whenever a man is intimidated by another man, it's not the man himself, it's like the work that he did to get there. And I've noticed whenever people actually put in that work, the ones who actually do, we all get along very well. It doesn't matter whether you're a doctor, firefighter, like when you know your craft, there's a mutual respect because you know how, especially when you're a father, because then it's a balance between kid relationship with a mother and making time for the craft. That's really tough. But that whenever I see someone that's jealous or envious, I'm like, brother, you haven't done the work yet. Because if you did, like, you would have a lot more respect for what it even takes to get here.
All right, there we go. Brother Hank, men are jealous or upset over other people who they have not outworked.
I believe that. No, I truly believe that. I go as far as this. I seen how some people who are not as financially fortunate will show that as well, that jealousy too as well. I mean, I don't know if you consider that work because I'm financially well. I guess you can. Let me take that back. Unfortunately, I had that with my family. You know, with my cousins and all that. They would see how I move and remember me how I used to be that knucklehead dude to get in trouble. And now all of a sudden, financially, I'm in a different space. You know what I'm saying? I'm financially above from where they probably thought I was going to be jail or either dead. I'm out there working, grinding, you know what I'm saying? Not only that, volunteering and giving back. And you got some people, man, they just can't stand it. They can't stand to see you happy at whatever you're doing. They hate to see you being successful or what they deem as successful. Why? Because, you know, they haven't accomplished what they feel like they should accomplish. Their shortcomings, and they trying to put it over on you and say, "Oh, you acting bougie, you acting different now. You acting like you better than us." Oh, I'm better than you. You damn right I'm better than you. And I don't have no problem. I tell a motherfucker in a minute, yeah, I'm better than you. I look better. I'm stronger. I'm faster than you. I get more money than you. Hell yeah. So if that's how you think about me, so be it. I landed there.
I'm gonna go to you, Marcus.
So yeah, I think he's spot on with this. So it's even to the point, like, in order to peacefully coexist, sometimes you'll find yourself not talking about your wins. So I took the approach Hank took when I was younger, and I probably been at over 80, 90 fights. Because the same thing was always gonna happen. Like, oh, you think you better than me? Da-da-da-da-da. I am, and now I'm fighting. And then it's just like at some point you just get tired of fighting every damn body. And you either separate from people or you kind of hold your wins to yourself, because not everybody gonna have the same journey, not everybody blessed with the same gifts, and not everybody gonna work as hard as the other person. And a lot of times people will take your success or the quality of life you live in, and they will feel as though you're taunting them or you're taking jabs at them. And it's really not that. You're just expressing how your day or how your life is going. And in doing that, it can be infuriating to somebody else. And because I've seen the results of doing that, you don't garner really goodwill with other people unless they're in a same or better position. People don't tend to usually punch down. So yeah, I think that's true, unless you have somebody that's extremely self-satisfied or secure with themselves. Those type of people, no matter what you're doing, they're proud and they're happy for you. But in this day and age, with so much comparison embedded in us through social media and the way we just have negative self-esteem, people look at everybody else and they just in a constant comparison, which is the thief of joy. And they always looking to knock you down a peg instead of raising themselves up. It's sad, but it's actually a reality.
So can you elaborate a little bit on like the victim mentality? I know that's a phrase that's thrown around loosely.
I never used the phrase victim mentality ever in my life. I kind of don't like the term, but so my issue with victim mentality, it deal with there are real things that happen to some people. Some people really have mental illnesses, right? And when they saying they can't do something I can do, like I'm not depressed. So I meet somebody that's depressed, and then if I tell them they're in the victim mentality, I kind of feel like I'm piling on them because they're already struggling with their depression and getting over it. And here I go, happy go lucky, and I'm just saying, oh, just get over it. And in turn, that's piling more onto them. Like, so I actually try to be really, really cognizant of not, I don't do the best job at it. I fail at this, but not
picking
really
up
doing somebody. You say what?
I was saying picking on.
Yeah, or them feeling that way. I like the last 8 years of my life, I've been working on that. It's been a journey. But yeah, because you never know the way that you are succeeding in life will have somebody plotting on killing you. You know what I'm saying? You don't know nothing about it. You just out here living, out here driving good and doing all this other shit. And every time they see you, they like dude and belly. I don't like that shit. Have to drop a dime on that nigga. You know what I'm saying? And you thinking it's all good. You want to help them win. You want to bring them to the bar with you. You win it. Man, I got one. I had got this dude a apartment. He just came home. I got him an apartment, got him situated and all this shit, bro. Got him some clothes, some side work, everything. He was living free. And instead of appreciating that, he fucked up. I had to fire him. And he just caused living hell for me. And the whole time he felt as though me and him should be in the same position. I'm like, bro, we just not the same person. We haven't done the same things. But because you looking with such an envious eye, you can't even appreciate the gift that I'm trying to give you. And it's not like I threw it in his face or nothing. I'm just keeping it P, like, shit, it's on the arm. But you'll be surprised how many situations like that I ran into, honestly.
Hey, I got a question about the mentality part, the victim mentality part. Would me telling somebody that they have a lazy mentality, if they're actually lazy, is that any different from a person that's claiming to be a victim and me saying you have a victim mentality?
Does racism exist, Viz?
Just answer the question, bro.
My answer to it is, does racism exist? I think it is different. It's two different things. So the answer is, I think it is different. Now, does racism exist?
Yeah.
Can it affect somebody in their life?
Can it? Yeah, if you allow it. Yeah.
So the only way racism works is if you allow it to work.
Absolutely.
So this is the issue with victim mentality when people make that statement, because if you believe that you can just not care about something and it no longer exists, I personally believe that's delusional. I get the sentiment and wanting to think positive.
Has racism affected your life and the life that you want to live compared to what you're living now?
Absolutely.
How so?
Shit, I was going to the league. My coach called one of the players a nigger, and I stood on principle and transferred. Is that good enough for you? I probably lost at least $10 million. Is that good enough?
I mean, that would kind of go back to the conversation that we just had recently of allowing for someone to have power over you. You could have addressed it some type of different way as to where you could have got your point across and maybe still got that contract. No.
So I would not have been able to continuously stay at the school and play under that. It wouldn't have worked for me. It would not have. So I'm not upset about the results because, hey, at the end of the day, I'm not owed anything. And I can look myself in the mirror, but hey, I had a decision to make, and I made the decision that fit right with me. Now, I'm not complaining about it, but I'm saying it has affected my life. So,
but if you had the opportunity to approach it in a different manner and still be in the position, maybe they would have traded you off to a different team or whatever the case may be.
It was a different. If it was like professional at that time, then yeah, I probably could have done something different about it. This was in the era pre-social media. It was no transfer portal. You had to sit out a year when it was a different time, and it was no way. It was only a couple magazines and a newspaper. It wasn't no going to social media and finding a way to seek recompense. It was a different time. In this era, absolutely, it's the way I could have handled that differently. In that era, it wasn't really much that I could have done. Maybe sue them or something. But.
All right, we gotta get some other people there. Let me go to Nelson and then Sweeney.
Yeah, I actually disagreed with the statement. Even though there are instances when men are jealous with others that outwork them. For me, even being a little transparent, I struggle with envy at times too, because but it's for the opposite reason. Like, I put in so much work going to get the education, going into jobs so I can help the community, come up with all these ideas to create programming that's going to help youth. And then I see somebody else that just made up a couple of cliche terms, and they get funding to run everything that they want to do, and they have no substance or anything. Like, it's hard not to be envious of those types of things, because your motives, why you do things, and how hard you work. So it's difficult seeing somebody on the other side of that looks like they've just been handed things. So I can understand that it's another one of the things that definitely can work both ways. But I feel like the men that become really envious and can become really jealous, even though it's a struggle that we do need to, I need to examine myself and work on and make sure I'm living in humility. It's a much larger struggle when you are doing the right thing, but somebody else is getting the outcomes that you believe you should be getting.
You got anything to add about that victim mentality?
Victim mentality is really just painting yourself out as the victim when there's evidence that says otherwise. Amanda Seals, she goes on a popular show and makes different statements about her life, and having a regular conversation with Shannon Sharp, she leaves there and says he was mean to her, he was wrong to her. Perpetual victim. Even when the discussion about racism absolutely does exist. But if you are working on a job and you get fired and you claim it's because of racism, and your manager was black and he's the one that fired you, then there's a problem, because there's evidence that says otherwise, that you got fired because you're lazy. So racism wouldn't apply in that circumstance. But those types of people that live in that victim mentality, no matter what happens, they can always shift the narrative. They're the persecutor. They're oftentimes the person that starts something, but find unique ways to shape the argument and shape the narrative that paints them out as being the victim.
All right. Go ahead, Brother Sweeney.
So I personally believe that most people are indifferent to you. They really don't give a shit. They got their own lives that they need to live, so most people are indifferent. However, my wife did send me this post today. It was a lady, I guess she was a Lash Tech or something like that, and she said this lady said, when my Lash Tech upped her prices, then posted her new apartment, new bags, and her car she bought cash, I'm not gonna lie, I felt the type of way, so I stopped going to her. Another one responded to her and said, me with my hair lady, she bought a $400,000 home, and I was like, yeah, this stops here. And over 14,000 people liked each of those posts. And that did help me realize that some people just want to see the world burn. Do I think that's most people? Nah. I think most people got their own shit going on in their lives, and they can give two flying fucks and two tears in a bucket what you got going on in yours. However, there is some people in your life that see you winning and want to see you lose. I'll leave it there.
All right. Go ahead, Trev.
So Nelson made a great point that it varies, right? Because, I talk to a lot of people who, and even myself, sometimes I try to do things the right way, right? Even if we just talk about something as simple as social media. We know most of us have the ability to go viral, right? But we would have to do something against our morale, right? Just against our principles, and we can do it. And then we watch somebody else do it, and we put it in and trying to do it from the mud. And it's very easy to be like, damn, this is some what, because you like this dude over here on some corny man just doing whatever out here grifting, playing games. You know it's a fake, but you trying to do it the right way, and you ain't winning. And you know you could do the same thing, but you standing on business. You want to hold your principles, and you ain't winning out here. And it's tough to watch that, right? Another thing I want to say is that it's an emotion. Envy is an emotion, right? So it's not something that we should be like, oh, damn, you're envy. Okay. It's just like anything else, just like anger, right? Frustration. It's what you do with that energy. It's okay to feel a way about something, but it's how you react to it, in my opinion, right? So you'll see some things that you're like, damn, I want that. But when I see somebody who got the bigger car, the bigger house, you know what I mean? They're like, damn, all right. I'll take it as motivation. It's still envious, though, because you want it. You want what somebody else got. But what are you going to do with that energy? Are you going to try to pull them down to you? Or are you going to try to get on because you're like, nah, put me on, bro. You supposed to. You owe me that. Or are you going to try to downplay what it is that they do because you feeling away? Nah, you're going to have to go ahead and get it. Do it the way you know, well, the best way that you see fit. And hopefully it aligns with your morals, right? So I would say that. And anybody's capable of it. We all sit here. We all have experienced some type of envy at some point, but it's just, you just have to be very careful to how you manage that particular emotion. I'll leave it there for now.
I do want to add to that that some people are just unlikable ass people and just do shit the wrong way. Amanda Seals, and everybody and everybody else is the problem but you. And they will have that mentality that, oh, the world is just hating on me. No, you doing shit the wrong way. And yeah, you may be winning in certain ways, but I generally don't like the way you fucking do shit. And it bothers me that you do it that way. And it bothers me even more that you're winning while doing it that way. So some people are just unlikable ass people.
All right, go ahead, Dara. I'm coming to you next, Viz.
All right.
All right. So I'm going to try to be as clear with my words as possible. All right. So I agree that there is envy among brothers. I only think the jealousy and envy comes out when the one who is attempting to level up is reaching above for some guidance or some direction on how to get there. You know what I'm saying? And the request is declined. I'm reaching to the man above or whoever the guy is, and I'm asking, hey, look, man, show me the way. And this guy is unwilling to help. There are many brothers who know formulas and methods that if they would teach it to other brothers, then those men, can potentially reach similar success. Some men are willing to, put it out there for free if you ask for it. Some men will only shed away if you pay for it. Then there's the other men who want you to appreciate them. They want you to mention them. They want you to praise them. And when you don't, they'll claim that you're jealous and upset. And when you do praise them and give them their flowers, they still don't have any intention of showing you their way, even if you genuinely ask for it. But the brother said, if you know what it took to get here, you'd have more respect for me. Some men only respect men who are willing to reach to his left and to his right in efforts to help them, achieve what he's achieved. So I respect all men on any level. But I have even more respect for people who are, willing to share, the way. You get what I'm saying? But I don't look down on people above me, or if they feel they're above me, I don't get into that, man. If I know that I can't get there, then I don't pay it no mind. But if I know that I can achieve the same greatness or the same, like there's other YouTubers that I've reached out to who are doing well. And unless go write a check, I can't get the advice. And the advice may not even help me. But then you got some YouTubers that's like, hey, look, man, I'm gonna put you on, bro. Just keep hitting me up. We're gonna work on it. Let's stay consistent. JR, one of them. Gotta stay consistent, man. And I don't hate the ones who don't or who charge them. I know that's their game. I'm not knocking it. But I have more appreciation and it's more evident. You get what I'm saying? And I think when the guys who aren't helping you aren't getting that praise, then they just say that you're jealous and upset. But they don't really have any evidence of that. You know what I'm saying? They just, oh, he don't fuck with me. They jealous. You know, they upset. They don't fuck. That's the game. That's how it is out here. That's the atmosphere. I pass.
All right, go ahead, Viz.
Yeah, to piggyback off Darwin, everything has a cause. Everything has a cause. If you do reach out to somebody that's that you inspire to be, or to be to that level, rather, be it if you got to pay the money or pay it in time, everything has a cost. So that's part of the investment. Now, I think that to go off with Trev, that is a human emotion. How that person uses it, I think, is what matters. Either you're going to use that to be motivation to hate on them, or you're going to use that as motivation, you know what I'm saying, to put the work in to get to where they got. I 100% believe in being a helping hand. That's how you live forever, in my opinion. So if I can put my brothers on, or somebody that's showing that they want to learn, if you're showing that you have a desire to learn, then hell yeah, let's get it. But there's always going to be, we live in a world of polarity. There's always going to be people that get it, that get to it, and it's always going to be, you know what I'm saying, people that hate, niggas that's lurking. So it just come with the territory. One more thing I had wrote down too. Shit, misery love company. And we got to remember that. So just like what Sweeney pointed out, hey, somebody is acknowledging and giving a thumbs up to somebody hating on somebody else because they got a new house. They just upset because they ain't living that way. So shit, if I can't have it, why you got it? So I'm gonna hate on you for that. So it's an instinctive emotion, but it's all about how you apply it.
You think that's like a crabs in a bucket type thing? What you were saying, maybe? Absolutely. Like, because they say that about us black folks, that we can't appreciate another black man winning. We got to pull him down. So we'll use terms like, hey, look, I got boots on the ground. What do you have? You get what I'm saying? So
right.
It was just curious. I was just interested.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that.
Darwin, what you were describing earlier. Darwin, what you were describing earlier, do you also feel like that's a form of jealousy? Like the dude who won't put you on because he don't want you to get to his level. Would you also describe that as jealousy?
Absolutely.
Like the guy. Okay.
I even was sent a recording. I'm not going to say their names, but I was sent a recording of a private conversation about, okay, this dude has the video quality, the filmmaking skills. If we show him the way, bro, he gonna be better. Because, yeah, and it was like, look, we can't let this dude. He gonna have to figure it out on his own. So yeah, I would say there was more jealousy. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if I can consider that to be jealousy in every situation. I think that is just some people that they just won't talk to somebody that they feel is below.
Ooh. So it's like a competitive mindset.
For sure.
So also it can be like, okay, I worked so hard to get here. This motherfucker ain't finna just come here and just
he ain't finna just come up.
No, motherfucker, you gonna go get it out the dirt like I did.
That's still jealousy. That's still jealousy, though.
Being that you said boots on the ground,
I think our fathers do that to us. Like, I think all fathers would do that to us.
Nah, I'm not letting that fly. I let it fly when you said boots on the ground.
Hold on, wait,
you
what
know,
are we talking
it's
about?
periods of time I just left you be and just watched you. I just put the placebo out there.
Hold on, what are you talking about?
Feel calm.
Let his ass
He got cooked. So here's the thing. What do you have that you believe I'm jealous of?
Hold on, I wasn't referring to you.
You said
you're
boots
not
on the ground. You threw a snipe. So
no,
here's
you
what.
are not the only one I've spoken to in the world.
So we gonna do this. What have you done that I have not done besides be in the military?
How old are you?
I'm 51. I could play the pissing contest.
I can't sit here and have a
first
conversation
responder
with you because it's
Bucket Brigade from day one.
I don't know you.
Sandy first responder.
Listen, I don't know you well enough to be able to say I've done something better than you.
Exactly. So stop.
But again, I wasn't referring to you. Like I said, I've heard
so
these
let me
terms.
show you how petty you are on the back chats. When you and Sweeney concocted to send that thing regarding the GDP of Africa, to Shannon thinking that he would have
whoa
the verdict to break it down. And then you said boom at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's somebody that's confident.
Bro, you still on that?
No. I'm showing you.
You didn't get my Walmart gift card apology?
I'm in context. of
no, it was a Target.
Men are jealous or upset over people who they have not outworked. That I'm staying within the context of that caption. You have not outworked me.
Okay, so are you jealous of me?
No.
Okay, so what is your
nothing
fight?
I want.
What is your fight with me then?
You have nothing I want. I have no fight with you. You're feeble. You know how you showed you was feeble? When you and Sweeney did that thing to Kenny, and he was trying to just get a point of view across, you could have easily rebutted. You said the dumb thing about the sweatshop while a man who travels to Africa, it was trying to give you a parody thing. Then you went and shot it to Shannon. Like he could break me down. And he posted Wikipedia facts. I knocked it down and both y'all stayed quiet.
This is what I will say.
We on King Talk tonight, man. Come on.
This is not King Talk, bro.
This is how you iron stuff out. The caption said men are jealous and upset over other people who they have not outworked. You have not outworked me. You have not been through what I've been through. You're an elitist, and I proved it.
I mean, out of respect for the show, I'm not going to do that to you because I would literally destroy you on this panel. But what I will say,
out of respect, you stop sniping.
This is what I will say. This is what I will say, and then I'll let you have it, and then we can continue this show possibly. If you know what it took to get here, you would have more respect for me.
Little boy,
this nigga right here.
Look at his spliff star. Look at him.
Oh shit!
Look at his spliff star.
He said that and hit him with the.
Hey, Kitty, you can't help but laugh at that, bro. Kitty, there's no way you can't not laugh at that.
Nah,
you better stand down, Sweeney. You better stand down.
He threw a sniper at me.
I watched the man back you down, Sweeney.
There's been plenty of people that came at me.
Pause.
I watched the man back you down. I'm way past. I'm 50.
So there's been plenty of people that have come at me on these panels. What does that mean?
You understand?
Pause.
I've watched you. This is
So
King Panel.
Okay,
so we're gonna stay within that caption, and we're gonna iron it out right now. The man has nothing I want.
Okay, what does that have to do with?
I'm for the people.
All right, man, we got one more topic we got to get through, man. Has anybody has spoken on this yet?
I haven't.
Okay,
that nigga Darwin said that and backed out with the.
That shit was funny.
All right, go ahead, Kenny, on topic.
Okay, men are jealous and upset over other people who have their. Listen, we have never healed. They have is it Cress Wilson or another female doctor? We have never, since we got put on this side of the world.
Dr. Francis Cress Wilson.
Got proper healing. We just went through phases. When Marcus asked this man about racism, and he says, does it affect your life? It already had a foundation, and it still holds true to this day. You could even look at the Constitution. You're 3/4 of a man. Still, that's not out the Constitution. Redline and COINTELPRO.
But how has racism prevented you from being successful in your life at 51 years old?
How has it prevented me?
Correct.
Dude, there's certain things that I had to go around to get where I am right now. I have been profiled. I've been thrown in Bronx police cars and beaten by cops that were not from my neighborhood, that took the opportunity to snatch up young kids in the South Bronx and get it off on them. That's racism. I've been put in public schools and told that if my mom put me in a better school so I could get a better education, while white people do it and they get a slap on the wrist, you can't do it and you'll go to jail. There are actual facts regarding that. When I started working at the communication company, there were white boys that would not teach me. So I had to get real good at with my eyes. When I did manhole and learned, they would cover. And I would have to peep and try to take all the information in. And then I learned that way. That's racism. 28 years later. Okay, let me just go back to 2001. They had to be side by side with me in the bucket brigade when we was digging bodies out of 9/11. You understand? A lot of them are dead now, but I'm still here. You can't tell me about racism. I saw it every day when I had to deal with these rednecks side by side, had to eat crow. 28 years later, still getting profiled. It's not prevalent, or you just want to keep saying that. You are not where, listen, you get in your little subsects of town where it's safe and comfortable, and then you get numb to what's really going on out there. It is still prevalent. Ahmaud Arbery, Tamir Rice. Hello? That didn't happen?
I've never negated any of that from happening.
Okay, that is racism. Okay, wait, LA. I wish Shannon was here. They had to disband their whole police force. The feds had to go in there. They were rife with racism. How much more examples do you need? I hate when people use those tropes.
And all right, and just to be clear, I don't think Kenny or I is saying that it's an excuse for failure or that we didn't get to any place we wanted to be. We're specifically speaking on the things that it affected, not prevented, but it's an effect. Something happened because of cause and effect. Now, however we got to our end goal, we still figured out a way to get to our end goal.
I digress.
And I wouldn't say, I mean, you wouldn't say that a lot of those people had a victim mentality if they were to come out and tell their story about how it affected them either. I don't think we would look at those people and say they had a victim mentality.
Why are you using that if racism was the
Well, that's
term?
because that's what it was based on. That's why it was based on.
No, that's what was brought into the conversation
Right.
after Marcus established his question while Viz asked him to answer my question first. Marcus answered his questions, then interjected that.
Are you not
If
hearing?
you were paying attention.
Are you not hearing what I said? Because the original conversation started from JR's question about victim mentality, and then it was brought up about and he asked Marcus about the victim mentality, and Marcus responded and said, "Does racism exist?" And that's why I said I didn't say
that's not it.
Go back. Yes, it is.
No, it's not. But because Fez asked that question, because what he was talking about, that's later on. It was earlier.
Well, Marcus asked me, does racism exist?
Right. After you asked him the question about victim mentality.
Right.
Man, I'm not sure we're gonna get nowhere with this, man. Let's go and get to this.
So all I was simply saying was I wouldn't say any of those people, including Kenny, who experienced those things, you would say they have a victim mentality when they tell their stories. I don't know why Kenny decided to fight me on that, but I was actually agreeing with him. But all right.
I perceive that if that's something that you hold on to throughout your life, then that is a victim mentality. Now, I was hear me out. So I will say this because I grew up in the hood too. I ran the streets, had a felony, carried a pistol on me, caught a gun charge. The whole you did. I went through that whole lifestyle, gang banging, getting beat up by the police, all of that, bro. But what changed was the fact that I changed my mentality in the way that I carried and presented myself. So with me doing that, I can now feel comfortable with the police pulling up behind me. They flag me, whatever the case may be. I'm not worried. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not the mindset that I have. And if a situation does escalate, I know how to handle myself not to de-escalate it in that moment. So, and that's just been my experience.
I got a question for you, Viz.
Real quick, let me answer him, Darwin. If it was if I embodied victim mentality, I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
That's fair. I never said that you had the victim mentality.
I was just giving clarity because it sounded like that's where the conversation, your POV after I said what I said was going. So, but you gave me clarity. I digress.
I just got one question for you, Viz.
Yeah.
So we talking about, right? I think right now we're touching on police brutality, right?
That's essentially what Kenny brought up.
So let me ask you this: out of all of the situations and articles and headlines and unfortunate situations you've heard or experienced, how much of those situations would you say happened because the person who was victimized believed in the system or believed that the officers wearing a uniform were gonna perform, their duty according to the procedures? They had so much faith in it, they were willing to resist in certain times, or they just put their life in the hands of, okay, this is how it's supposed to be done. I'm gonna fight because this is the law and this is my right. You get what I'm saying? Because the reason why I'm asking you this, because I firmly believe that police officers, just because they got a uniform and badge and have their go get training, that doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna do what's right every time.
For sure.
So I'm not sold on it, or I'm not confident enough to put my life in the hands on whether they're not gonna do right by me. Therefore, I'm gonna carry myself a specific way when I'm pulled over or I'm challenged, or even if my rights are violated and they tell me to get out. And I know deep down inside, I don't want to get out of the fucking car. I know that, look, if I say I don't want to get out and I'm well in my right to say that out, chances of this motherfucker not performing his duty right is reserved under him willing to do it right or take my life. So I'm not going to give that option to him. You get what I'm saying?
But what other option do you have?
To fucking get out of the car.
Okay.
handle it.
Or pretend like you're not a victim and assert you have human basic rights via the Constitution. Because
we should
So-
get one more topic, y'all. I mean, if y'all want to break this down in the back end, we can. I just want to make sure we get to the top before people start cutting out.
For sure.
All right. Appreciate everybody. I appreciate the dialogue panel. Let's go and get into this main topic, which is no black man at home. Here's the clip.
For the first time, we can move this to a different level and do it without insulting the black woman. I'm so tired of hearing that ain't no black man at home. Well, why y'all tell me about Frederick Douglass? He didn't have no daddy. Why y'all tell me about Du Bois? He didn't have no daddy. Hitler had a father. Huh. Okay? Jack the Ripper had a father. The only president ever been ran out the White House, Dick Nixon, had a father at home. And you can't get no closer family ties than the mafioso. Them Italians talk about family, and they've reduced the whole world down to animals. So we keep throwing this back on us, and you haven't proved that it works someplace else. Look what them Nazis did. Now you tell me they came out of broken homes? And so look at the folks who invented the nuclear bomb. Look at the folks who's messed up the ecology. It's not fourth grade dropout black folks with no daddies at home. These are well-groomed, well-educated, scientific white minds that done polluted the whole world. So somebody better really go easy when you start talking about no black man at home, and make sure you don't insult my black sister, who is my wife, who is my daughter, who is my mother. And let's put this blame where it belongs.
All right, let's go to get into a no black man at home. I'm going to start with you first, Trey.
All right, so while he absolutely made some valid points, can't ignore the statistics, right? 70% of states, we can keep going. We all stats, right? So when you put that together, you look at every metric as far as being a good human versus a degenerate. It is what it is. That's what generally happens. Unfortunately, statistically, single mothers are more likely to create degenerates than anyone else. It is what it is. Unfortunately, that's why I believe in a nuclear family, right? I believe in 2-parent households. So that doesn't mean that us as men don't have to hold ourselves accountable, right? We have to ensure that if we are going to make that choice to lay down with the woman, you must understand that she is potentially attached to you for life, and you have to accept the responsibility. Right? You hear a lot of men whine about choices and saying, "Oh, well, it's not my choice." Nah, you made a lot of choices. The first choice you made was to get with that lady. You chose to lay down. You chose to go raw diggity and shoot the club up. You had a lot of choices to make before you conceived. So we have to just make sure that if we're going to be responsible enough to go ahead and get jiggy with it, we're going to have to take care of the responsibility that comes with that, because we're feeling it the most out of everybody, right? You know the percentages, what, 70 to 80% of us we raised by single parents, and it sucks. We need to be out here being good fathers. We should want to be fathers to our children. We have to be more responsible, and we can't, and that's us as a whole, because I know most of the gentlemen on this particular panel is probably not about that life. But for the men who are having multiple baby mothers, whether you have 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, like you hear, we was just Kenny just brought up Ocho, and I didn't even know that about him, but that's reckless. It's impossible for you to be a good father to all those children that are living in different spaces. So that's the best thing that we can do as men, is not complaining, is to not create it. Don't create the problem, because it takes both of us. We can do our part. Women have to be more responsible as to who they decide to give the ultimate honor. I still believe in marry before you carry. That's just something that, and if that's not what you want to do, you at least you have to be as responsible as you can. There's no reason for women to have like 4 different baby daddies. You ain't never been married. I think that's outrageous. It causes a lot of confusion. And like I said, you're probably going to build somebody who's not going to contribute to society the way that you would want them to. We just going to have to be more careful about our decisions that we make. Sometimes that 10, 15 minutes ain't worth it. I'll leave it there for now.
All right, go ahead, Kenny P.
Dick Gregory could be very polarizing at times. We're in different times right now. We've had a plethora of conversations of the state of relations between men and women right now. When he said that, that was probably back in the early 80s when the dynamic was completely different. All that being said is just like fodder. We already been over the discussion of the state of women, how they see us. We're now in a Me Too time. They're more powerful than men, and they show it from time to time. So I'm not buying what he's selling at this point in time. It was aspirational back then, but then it took a wicked turn left. So no, I'm not in agreement with what he was pushing right there. No black man at home. Listen, that was a government thing. We all know 70s, you push them out, make sure that they're not in the household. Then you allotted finances, powdered milk, that hard government cheese that go good with, grilled cheese sandwiches and that Kool-Aid, the grape one that you would take. Then women became more emboldened and empowered by provocateurs that didn't happen to be from their race. And now we're here having these conversations, trying to get our sisters back in line, back home, under men's covering rather than fighting against us. We want to get them to fight for us. So I digress.
All right, go ahead, Viz.
Of course, we can't ignore the statistics. But as for me, and the men that I know, they all at home. They all in their kids' life. They taking care of their family. And I think that it's important for us to highlight that much rather than saying that there aren't any black men in the house. Because the more that we acknowledge that black men are in the house, we normalize it. So now niggas think that it's cool to have 5, 6, 7 baby mamas, kids, you know what I'm saying, all with different women, compared to saying, oh no, I know Darwin, Nelson, Sweeney, Marcus, Kenny. I don't know if you got kids. Everybody on this panel, they in they kids' life. So if we're pushing that message, then I think that is going to motivate other black men to say, okay, I need to be around. I need to make this work, even if I didn't marry her before she carried. This is my commitment. I'm here. So I think that we need to push that. And I think going against that, in my humble opinion, is having a victim mindset. Because now we're infecting other people with this thought process in which they now normalize.
All right, go ahead, Nelson.
Yeah, he made some good points. What I would say though, I think this is a much more nuanced and systemic problem. So it is true that the statistics of broken families and single parent homes is high, and there are a lot of black men that are absent from the homes. But you also have to strongly consider that there's a lot of households and kids that are growing up that are much better because their father is not at home, because we've lost a collective sets a collective set of morals and principles. We don't. Our value systems have changed so much that it allows room for negative actions, for people to get into different types of things, for kids to have issues with the law. Like we don't have those moral foundations anymore. When back in the day, some of the principles used to be humility, integrity, and your last name, your name actually meaning something, to where your kids want to make you proud by carrying that name and doing the right thing. Now it's shifted to more of the culture of money, power, respect. So now we're seeing generations where men and youth are just they're all about themselves. They're arrogant, they're narcissistic, they only care about all the women that they can get, because that's an indicator of the respect that they have, how much money they got, because that reflects their perceived sense of power. So they don't see the value of living a life full of integrity. And that is a major problem with the men not being inside the house, because we talked about earlier the unique ability of men to provide structure and discipline. Well, part of those values that you learn to instill in your children, those are the things that you raise them with, so that they can be so they can emulate you and be walking walking in your image and likeness. So it's a problem that men aren't in the house, but it's a much greater problem. Well, I don't want to say much greater, but it's also a problem that culture is raising our kid. The media is raising our children, and the culture, a lot of the culture that youth currently gravitate to in the Black community is full of trash.
All right, go ahead, brother Hank.
It's unfortunate. Brother Gregory, I mean, at that time period, I don't know when that time period was. It maybe seemed like the late 70s. I think he was speaking about this. The dynamic's totally different now. It is totally different. And with that being said, Black men not being at home, it's bad. It's really bad. I don't like when we compare ourselves to other groups of people. I hate when we do that, because we're different. And we're different because we went through different things in them other groups of people that they're trying to compare us to. How we got here, how we got to this point, everything's different. So there's really no comparison. But as far as Black men being in the homes, it's sad that we're like this right now. I'm not a fan of being a weekend father, even though there was times I had to do it until I was able to get custody of my son and my daughter. It is definitely different, because when you are like a weekend father, you are at the mercy, pretty much at your baby mother or your ex or whatever the title is for. You at the mercy of them, because what their rules and what they apply and let go on, let happen at their house is totally different. So I can't tell my ex-wife how to run her household. That's not my place. Well, just like vice versa, she can't tell me how to run my household. But you hope that you are on one accord when it comes to your kids, and if you can't agree on nothing else, you agree on how you raise, deal, and discipline, and provide structure for your kids. A lot of people don't have that situation. Unfortunately, when that father is not in the home, more likely the structure goes to hell. You know, especially when you have a son. A son can manipulate the mother. A son can get over, take advantage of, and we've seen there's times where a mother try to discipline son, ain't nothing you can do with him. Nothing you can do with him all. So the importance of black men at home is very important, regardless if you're a father, you're the biological, even the stepfathers. I mean, we talked about that earlier. I think Sweeney was saying how there was a certain level of respect that women and people, individuals have with stepfather. Well, you know, it's still important because that young man or that young lady needs to see some type of male role model figure in the home, even if it's biologically not theirs. They still can help. I landed there.
All right, go ahead, Darwin.
So I heard a lot of what he said, and what I think he's trying to say is what I heard him say is having a man at home creates monsters, and not having a man at home is not necessary. This is what I heard. I mean, you a lot of y'all are right, and when you said that times have changed, a different era, you know, a different society breeds different results. Dick Gregory, he spoke about homes that were currently being dismantled. And I think once we got up into the 80s, you really saw that when the crackhead epidemic came. And the effects of the households breaking up, they didn't show during his era. The effects of those broken homes show now, today. That is the effects are now. And I think if he was living today, his words would be different in a way that it would mirror what, you know, we experience from not having our fathers. So for him, I give him a pass because there's no way he could have known that it would be like this. I mean, some people could probably see it, but I could see how it kind of could have been challenging for him to foresee the effects of it being this way. But I give guys like him and people who speak like that a pass because, man, there's so many things that happen and so many things that are to come that we couldn't even fathom. Like, you know what I'm saying? For example, I think Michael Jordan was like the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Nobody thought LeBron would come. So I give a lot of Jordan fans a pass for their ignorance, saying there would never be another great player. And for that reason, I would never say that there would never be a great player better than LeBron, just because you don't know, man. Evolution, things change. But I pass. I pass him, Mike.
All right, go ahead, Sweeney.
Come back to me, JR.
All right. Go ahead, Marcus.
So I might have watched, I got something completely different from that video. What I was taking from the video was he was pretty much, y'all tell me if I'm wrong, that y'all heard him pretty much say that to stop blaming the sisters and blame the system. Did y'all get that from the video? Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because when they said no black man at home, he was, what I took him to saying, and shout out to Dick Gregory, that great brother. I met him in 2005. He came and spoke at the Art Center in Connecticut. Great brother, love that man. Rest in peace. But he was saying, like, before we point the finger at the women, it's a much larger system that we need to address, and that system is the thing that's keeping us in this place. And if the example of people not having fathers in the homes was the sole contributing factor, then how do you explain Adolf? Then how do you explain these other people who have fathers? And how do you explain the people who did not have fathers who were great people? Like, systems are very hard as an individual to compete against. Now you'll have anomalies that make it through the cracks within those systems, or find ways which is why I tend not to when somebody's explaining their struggle to me, I tend not to look at it as a victim mentality, specifically because I think ambition and drive is just as much a gift as being tall. is just as much a gift as being athletic. The mentality that creates drive, that can create a personality that can jump over a hurdle, it actually it can be learned behavior, but for the most part, it's something intuitively in that person that can be awakened, or they already were born with it awakened. And because those things are inherently more they're inherently harder to point out, you'll look at somebody who can't do the same thing as you and say, oh, you're just being a victim, when the truth of the matter is they're mentally just not capable. They were not given the same gifts as someone else to be able to achieve those things. So I try and take their stories as, this is actually what they're going through. I can try and uplift you and maybe give you the resources or point you in the direction of the resources to get what you need. But for the most part, I know most people who are in the situation won't make it up out of that situation unless they have something exceptional about them. And that's at fault of the system. And I was taking it that he was saying we need to stop punching down on the women and look up to what the system is.
All right. Go ahead,
I definitely understand. I get it 100%. But me personally, I just can't give away that power to somebody else. I can't give away the power that my life has a specific fate because of a system that is outside of me. I just simply cannot do that. I can't fathom that mindset. Now, I understand and I agree that everyone does not have that same mentality and talent right off bat. I agree. But what nature has taught us is that the strong will survive. One has, as a man, as a woman, as an individual, you have to want to seek knowledge. That does not grow perishes. We know this. So if we become content in where it is, as to where we just accept this system to be just so defying that there's no way that we can beat the odds, then that is what is going to happen. Compared to if a person actually has the willfulness and desire to become something greater. That's the only way that we will ever beat it. That's the only way anybody will beat it. But if we do that as a whole, imagine what could come next from that.
So while I agree with you on everyone should strive for their personal greatness, the reason it's a system is because it's a system. The reason people are undereducated because the schools are underfunded, which doesn't give them the stepping stones they need to get to the next phase of progression education wise, which then leads to a school to prison pipeline because it's a system, not a willpower thing. So I would, brother Biz, I would ask you, I'm gonna make an assumption and you could tell me if I'm wrong. If not, just let me go with it. Out of all the people you grew up with in the hood, I would say at least 70%, the greater majority did not reach the success you reached, right?
That's fair.
So would that make you an anomaly or the average person?
I think that is that depends on who it is that you surround yourself around.
Again, actually, for the larger community, you might have been able to have a circle of high achieving friends, but keyword high achieving. There's a median baseline for they take test scores and predict prison population growth. There's a system.
There's a system. So we have seen all throughout history. We've seen this all throughout history that systems fall. How do systems fall? When people come together and bring down the system. there's tons of songs about it. We've seen it over and over. So if we are giving the power to the system, then that's how the system stays and remains the system. The guys that may not have achieved that same level of success, and this will go back to what we opened the conversation up with, were not willing to put in the work that I had to put in.
Did you like basketball?
Yeah.
Did you play basketball?
I did.
Was you an All-American?
No, I'm 5'8". So basketball wasn't my thing. And I accepted that. So what I went and did, I went and I've played every sport. But as far as in high school, what I then realized was that, okay, it's niggas that's 6 foot playing football and basketball. I'm 5'8". You know, this ain't for me. So I stayed in my lane and I got into wrestling and I dominated because I made the decision and seek the knowledge to see where it is that I can excel and focused on that.
But can't you see that for those out here that haven't been able to do like yourself, like, you know, conquer, you know what I'm saying, the suppression of racism, in a way to where you could be successful, you can be financially stable, for you to say that it's you know, that about the system, can't you see how that can make those people feel that haven't been able to achieve the things you achieved?
That's fair, but I'm only saying it because I came from that. So if I can do it, you can do it too. That's all my message.
Do you think everybody has an equal amount of chance or equal amount of ability to be able to do the things that you've done? You get what I'm saying? Do you think across the board, everybody is proportionately at the same level of being able to have an attempt at having success, given them they're given their circumstances and the situation they?
You said say that one more time.
Can somebody else explain that? Because I don't know, honey.
So what I just pulled up, nah, make basketball work no matter what, was pretty much what I'm saying is to cross parallel. The reason I brought up basketball was because you attempted to play basketball, but the way the coaching program / system is ran, they probably needed larger athletes. So the people who are blessed with the skill set and the gift of height were able to fit into that system, and the other people got funneled out into something else. Now, at some point, there's no drain off, and then that becomes the average. The average are meant to be mundane and not special and not given the ability to rise higher above their ranks, especially on the system that's built on capitalism as a pyramid, where you have the people at the top, and then it progressively gets larger as you go towards the bottom. Because again, it is a system.
I hear what you're saying, but that's still not a valid reason for me. So, prime example with basketball. When we were growing up, Muggsy Bogues was a person. So all I need, me personally, and I can't speak for everybody, but me personally, if I see that somebody that looks like me is the same height, is able to make it to the NBA and play against these 6 foot people, then you know what I'm saying? Why I just don't have the mindset to say.
Why didn't you do it?
Hold on, let me do it better.
You specifically
I chose not to, because that wasn't a desire of mine. I didn't have a desire enough, a passion enough to continue with that to play in the NBA. So
here's a better way. Here's a better way to explain it. And I'm gonna use basketball so we can get past this point.
Okay.
Let's say you and Mr. Wright, the real M. White, both play basketball for your high school team, and y'all want to make it to the college. He lives 10 minutes away from school. You live 3 miles away from school, and the bus don't come and get you. But you have to walk every day. By the time you get to practice, you're exhausted, you're tired because you got to hurry up and get your stuff and go to practice to a gym that's away from the school because they can't afford to put a gym on the campus. So he's 10 minutes away, you're 3 miles away. And every time you come to practice, you exhausted. So your performance is not going to be at the same level as and White. In results, he'll get the scholarship, he'll progress in his life. Are you saying that people, as far as racism and achieving life, don't have those same scenarios? You know, if you were to relate that to somebody trying to be successful and trying to find their footing in life. Because I honestly, I know what you're saying, but I do believe that there's certain people in certain demographics that don't have, we all have different fights. And some have a harder fight than me.
Right. I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree. My harder fight, if I would have continued to choose to fight the fight, would have been me attempting to pursue a further career in basketball, if we're using that reference. Now, understand, I'm not saying that racism is not a thing. I'm not saying that. All that I'm saying is that what we know in life, regardless if you white, black, Mexican, Asian, whatever, we are going to be faced with adversities. How it is that you address that determines the success level, the type of life it is that you're going to live. That's all that I'm saying. Once we understand that and we embrace that, then whatever it is, whatever the work takes to get there, I'm gonna get there because I'm willing to put in the work. And I'm not going to allow for this system that I can beat because I'm seeing with my own eyes people do it.
Mm-hmm. But how do you determine what the work looks like?
You don't know until you take that first step. As they say, the hardest step is the first step.
But what about the people that don't have any kind of basis or foundation to even know what a step looks like? And
you got to seek it.
That's the burden. And I think that's the burden. And that's what we got to deal with. That's the burden of being in the situation we are. What this is not our country, so to speak. And that's what we got to accept as a people that's disenfranchised, that there's going to be some of us that just ain't going to make it.
That's the harsh reality, regardless of what color you are. There's poor white people, there's poor Mexicans, there's poor Asians, and there's very wealthy on each side. We live in a world of polarity on every single basis. As long as we're on this planet, there will always be the poor, the middle class, and the rich.
And those are all different systems. So white people face different systemic issues that are unique to them. Asians the same. Black people, we have unique systemic issues that we have to overcome in order for us to, to excel in life. And it looks different for everyone. I don't think anybody is saying because Black people have had this unique experience here that we're defeated. I think everybody's just acknowledging parts of the system that we've identified that need to be repaired, and we're all fighting over what are the necessary the repairs that need to be made so that we can function well.
We gotta get Sweeney in there, y'all. Go ahead, Sweeney.
No, go ahead, y'all. Y'all cooking. Go ahead.
So, and to build on Nelson's point, I want to make sure I emphasize that I'm not saying that to be defeatist, which what I think our disconnect.
That's what it sounds like to me. That's how
I'm probably one of the most positive thinking people you can imagine. Honestly, I'm a optimistic pessimist, meaning I live in reality, but I hope things can get better, and I try for things to get better. But I don't negate that reality exists. That's where we're having a disconnect, because part of the ideology that you
I never negated that it doesn't exist. I said that over and over.
You did, but you're conflating that the effects of it existing. Because what it comes off as, say we're in a boat and the boat has is sinking, it kind of sounds like you saying, well, if I just power through this boat won't sink. When it has 25 holes and you only got 20 fingers and toes. I'm on the boat saying, hey, bro, it's got 25 holes. Not only do we need to acknowledge these holes, but we need a better system to patch them up because we don't have enough fingers and toes. Well, how about that's when we move to the next phase? How about we figure out how to put cork in each 25 and then we can sail to where we need to? It's not to say, oh, woe is me, we gonna drown in the river. No, I'm not saying that at all.
But that's what it sounds like if you're saying that this system is defying us from getting to this point. What with that correlation, what I hear you say is that if we're in this boat and we acknowledge the 25 holes in the boat, and we don't, and all we do is sit here and we're just looking at the boat saying, damn, it's 25 holes in here and we're not doing nothing about it to plug the holes, then that's because we're so stuck on the holes being there, much rather than filling them. Then you know what I'm saying? Of course we're gonna sink.
So this is where the disconnect is coming in. I think maybe the people you've spoken to before, you're bringing that belief that is what I'm advocating for into this conversation. Very much so saying there are 25 holes. Let's not sink, but we need to figure out a solution to address the 25 holes, be it cork, be it whatever we can get, driftwood, and we find a way to do that. But as long as we saying, I'm not about to worry about them 20 holes, we will continue to sink, is my point.
Man, is it safe to say that what you're trying to do is to get us to say, hey, look, we're gonna go through life, and if we fail, it's okay, because a lot of people always keep in their back pocket. Well, the reason why I failed because the system was against me. I think what he's trying to do is tell us that. Huh?
I'm not saying it's okay to fail. That's not.
No, I'm saying I think he's trying to say it's not okay. It's no longer okay it's never okay to use that as an excuse to why you fail. So just take it out of your back pocket. And if it's something in front of you, your fight is not to fight the system. Your fight is to figure out a way around, because you have air in your breath. I mean, you have
air in your lungs,
breath in your body, and you got blood in your veins. So
yeah,
we've seen people do it countless of times. So no excuses. Having that Mamba mentality is the way to go.
I think the problem with what we're saying here is you can't, if you're going to say, okay, there's a problem here, to not acknowledge that the system is the reason why the problem exists is to not actually solve the problem.
You
can't solve the problem if you say, well, that thing does not exist, or F that thing that exists that is causing this problem for a large group of people, we can find a different way. But if you never acknowledge what caused the problem and how the problem was there, you would never attack the actual problem, which in this case, if we're talking about a racist system that Black people have had to endure for the last 450 to 600 years, you're talking about a situation of a group of people that you can reach back to slavery and draw a line to all the failure of our people in this country, right back to that. And then you stack things on top of it, like convict leasing and Jim Crow, and you keep stacking those things on top of it. You can't ignore all of that, because our failure today is a representation of that. What you're about to see in the next 15 years is the greatest wealth transfer in American history. And all that wealth is primarily white.
You want to know why?
Let me just build one more point on that.
Wait. You want to know why? Because we are still holding on to this much rather than us building it up. What it is that we have. I will stand 10 toes down on that, period. The reason why we are, because I want to say there was a study saying that the average Black household would be 0. If they're predicting this, and we continue to do the same thing we've been doing, is that not insanity? That's the definition of insanity.
Hold on, let me just throw this one thing again, Swing. So I think the when we acknowledge the issue and work together in the past, we came up with a solution. We have to be twice as good. If you ignore the issue, then the reason you need to be twice as good no longer exists. We did better in that mentality than saying, hey, it doesn't exist. Just try your hardest. No, I know it exists. And because I know it exists, I need to do double what everybody else does. Acknowledging that can get you to the next level.
I think it's a difference in saying it exists versus, hey, look, this has power over me, and there's nothing I can do because this is here.
Right.
I think the thing is, I know that it's here, but even though it's here, this shit don't matter because I'm still gonna win. I think that's what Biz is saying.
That's all that I'm saying. And just imagine if we all had that mentality. That's all that I'm saying.
Well,
I think that we spend too much time on talking about what happened, much rather than what it is that we can do.
See, that's where you go left. You're speaking aspirational.
No, that was actually powerful.
I'm with you because you're speaking aspirationally. But when those things were pointed out, when I pointed out redlining, COINTELPRO, you said racism. Okay, racism, you're speaking in a tense like it doesn't, like it would not play a percentage. Let's take the percentages. It would not play a percentage in how you go about your life. Like your skin color would never matter no way. You go throughout this United States, all 50 odd states, in certain rooms, how you're treated, opportunities still given. It's less than it was before, but it is still prevalent. It's not demeaning to your point. You do have a valid, strong, profound point. But then you go some places where you said it's like you're victim blaming. Like, okay, this is your crutch. You still got this crutch. This crutch should not be in your way when there are things that are systematically still in place. I said, okay, let's start by getting that piece of paper out the way that's still considered as 3/5 of a man. That's still in the Constitution. They didn't get rid of that. They have other nasty things that they have redacted that the CIA are putting out that held us back, which has us at like way behind financially. A lot of your point would be like borderline to like certain people of our color saying that we shouldn't want reparations.
So like Nelson, when you remember a time when Black people collectively thought that mental health wasn't real and that we should just pray the problems away. So that's what it seems similar to me when we speak in that way. What I'm saying is mental health is real. Let's address the issues and propose valid solutions to treat these things, whether it be medication, therapy, counseling, whatever that is, that needs to come. But if we say just pray it away, we're stuck in the same position. Is my point.
This reminds me of how we even how we approach the N-word. We got some that are the school of thought that, well, people are going to say it, just ignore it, don't give it power, and over time it'll just not be utilized anymore because it no longer has the effect. And then you have the other camps that say, well, no, we need to know the history of it, where it came from, and educate people on why it is bad, so that way going forward they don't do it anymore. It sounds like we're having those same types of conversations about how we want to address a problem. So there's merit to the way that you want to approach it in terms of trying to not give power to the system, trying to look beyond it, pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps and working. There's merit to that, but there's also merit to knowing the intricacies of the system, because now you have unique approaches and ideas to even, solve some of the problems or plug some of the holes. And it's not for everybody to plug those holes. It's not for everybody to take part in fixing the system. Some people are gifted problem solvers inside our community that have a heart for doing those types of things. Other people are gifted in forward thinking to where they are good at just building on new ideas and pushing forward. There's room for all of that. We just need to find out how all of it fits together in a way that we're not crabs in a barrel. We're not beating each other over the head with our own ideas and not accepting other thoughts.
I think what Viz is saying is, hey, look, I've seen all of what racism has thrown at Black people. We figured out a way to overcome every dart and every challenge. We spend too much time focusing on all of the darts that were thrown at us and not focusing on the solutions that we've been able to overcome.
Well,
and I think if we come together as Black people and have a mutual interest, we could dominate this country.
Well,
but that's the mutual interest, acknowledging it. Like that's
what we do though.
Hold on, wait.
We give the loudest voice to the people that are the most destructive. The people that fight for, the most entitled things are the people with the victim mentality. So we tend to always listen to their screams and their cries for what is wrong, rather than the people that are already pushing and making things
like Dr.
happen.
Claude Anderson is a perfect example of somebody who's already seen the solution and has been trying to push it, saying that Black people need to have a mutual interest in order to move forward. But because we don't put our money together, our resources together, we will never have nothing. The money don't stay in our communities, but maybe over a week, over a night, and it's gone by Friday.
But that goes back to the character. Let me just say this. This goes back to the character of people, because what you're saying is what people with bad motives and bad character have proposed. With the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, they empowered a sweet talking Black man that has the most narcissistic traits, empowered him to put a project together that was going to help the entire community. But because they didn't know how to vet his character enough to know that he was a scam artist, he spent millions of dollars on himself and left other people, other investors, Black investors that wanted to learn how to grow wealth, made them go broke.
And the thing is that
was that a white or a Black person?
It was Black.
That was Black.
And the thing is that the problem, I get what Viz is saying.
Wasn't a white man. That wasn't the system.
Wow. I wasn't blaming the white man.
He wasn't blaming the white man. He was saying that when you look at people's solutions, sometimes somebody will say, I have the solution. And it sometimes tend to be the wrong person.
Don't let that go over your head, Viz. I'm gonna go back to Willie Lynch letter. Remember when I said we've never been healed? And
when
then
do we heal?
You heard Sweeney say,
Hold on, y'all. We gotta let Sweeney finish before y'all do it, because Sweeney was talking.
Go ahead, Kenny. I'll go right after you, bro.
Okay,
Kenny, when do we heal? We talk about the Jim Crow. We talk about the Willie Lynch. We talk about all of this stuff over and over and over. I've been hearing this conversation since I was 3 years old. At what point do we take the time out to heal?
You don't heal until the damage is repaired.
Come on, bro.
No. You asked the question you want to answer. You have Nelson up here. If you line up 10 of your brothers and say, you know what? I think you've been through trauma. Here's a brother Nelson. Go do what you need to do to situate that. Sit down with that man. Start working your stuff out. How many of those brothers will go in that office and start unpacking their problems?
If one person does it, the next person will. That is a
Nelson,
known fact.
Could you answer that?
If somebody, this is a known fact. If somebody sees someone else do a thing that now becomes a practice habit, there'll
be a ripple effect.
It'll be a ripple effect.
Okay, Nelson, could you answer what I just said?
Of the monkeys in the cage that's being doused by water. They put 4 monkeys in the cage with some bananas. One of the monkeys will go for the bananas, and everybody will get doused with water. The next monkey do the same thing. This now becomes a repetitive thing. So now they slowly start taking out one monkey and put a new one in. Then the new monkey gets in the cage, try to take the banana, and they get doused again. And they continue this until all of the original monkeys are out and it's all new monkeys in. And now they don't even know why they're beating up the other monkeys that's coming in that's trying to get the banana, because it'll never get doused. As soon as a new monkey get in, they beat them up because that's what they've been taught.
Black folks.
I'll make it apply and make it wrong.
Marcus,
So, all right.
Could I have Nelson answer that question that I posed?
How many you said? How many
Like
would
he
follow?
said, if I told him to line up 10 brothers, him being included, and you go speak to them, and you're gonna be the first one to go see Nelson. I had trauma. I want to unpack it so I can be a better man, be more productive, stop talking and actually doing, and get all this trauma off my back so I could be a more productive man within society and unpack it. What would those other 9 men do?
It depends on the influence of the one that did go. So there is a certain
By
element
numbers.
that is
Hold on, real quick, by numbers.
You said by numbers? Mm-hmm. Most likely only one or two people would probably do it, but it's a herd mentality type of thing. It's like the influence of the person that did go and do it could have a substantial impact on the others, depending on his personality, depending on his character. But it keeps going in different directions. We had a whole herd of people that decided that they needed to get some type of shot to keep them from getting sick. And we had a whole group of other people that said it was horrible, that it'll kill you. Like we naturally segregate and follow the next shiny thing. That's just kind of like a natural part of society at this point.
But Nelson, that wasn't fair because there was a leverage put in.
Oh man,
that thing
how is that not fair if it's a fact, bro?
There was a leverage put in. Like a lot of people, if you didn't get that shot, if you didn't get that thing, you couldn't work.
There was a system in place that influenced. There was definitely a system in place that influenced people's desire or feeling like they were required to go get that thing. That is true.
This is true, but also pay attention that at one point there were quite a few people that held out on getting it, and then the government ended up lifting that very thing, and they never even had to get the shot and kept their job.
Viz, it was not quick. It was a long process, and a lot of people suffered. And
I'm not saying that's not what I'm saying, bro. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
But what you're doing is you're ignoring the fact that there were a lot of people that did lose their jobs based on that. Yes,
I'm not ignoring that. That's not what I'm ignoring.
Yes, were there a lot of people that were able to escape taking the COVID shot and being able to go on and keep their job? Yeah, but that was probably in a situation where taking a COVID shot wasn't required for them to do so. For example, I didn't have to take it as a barber. I'm my own self-employed, so that was never a problem for me. However, there were a lot of people that lost their jobs around me, and a lot of clients that weren't able to come back to me because they refused to take the COVID shot. As a matter of fact, never mind. But I was going to use Kyrie Irving as an example, but something seriously wrong with that dude. He didn't care.
It's still a good example.
So to be clear, Viz, in your monkey example, what I'm saying is, in order for they don't reinstitute they set the standard right, and the monkeys succumb to it. Now we could be the same type of monkeys who come in and say this don't matter. We gonna go back up here and get sprayed. What I'm saying is, instead of us just going up there and get sprayed, we notice what they doing. You be on lookout. You get the stuff out the top, and we'll get the stuff together before anybody gets sprayed down or beaten down. I'm not saying, hey, we can't get to it. I'm saying let's devise planning to get to it. So
all the animals black people could have used, y'all chose monkey. Y'all,
I didn't know this. He did.
Well, no, I only use it because that was an actual study. But
Nah,
Let me ask you a
that
question.
was real. I heard
Let me
about
ask
that
you a
study.
question, Biz.
yeah,
Do you think the ADOS movement and what they're fighting for is a viable solution?
you said the who?
The ADOS movement and what they're fighting for is a viable solution?
The what? The Adolf?
ADOS movement,
What's that?
the American Descendants of Slavery. It's a political organization that is pushing for reparations. Do you think that is a viable solution?
No, I think that's a waste of time. I think it's a waste of time and energy.
Then that will make you problematic because now you're instead of you letting people get out in front and do their work to get us what we need.
I'm not stopping them from doing it. If that's where you want to invest your energy into, then by all means go ahead and do it. But me personally, I'm not going to do that.
Have you ever well, obviously you don't know about them, but if you were to actually research them, they've done enough research regarding this. And as far as, especially when they're talking about the wealth gap and the reason for reparations, I think it might change your mind on whether it's a waste of time or not. However, I understand that you believe. I think
if we got reparations, and this is a known fact as well, if we got reparations, within 10, 15, 20 years, things will go right back to where it is.
How would that be a known fact?
You just talking off a feeling.
I can tell you why. I can tell you why it'd be a known fact. Viz, and I'm going to answer it with this question. Do you think Black people in this country earn enough, gross enough yearly to make any oppression or any suppression of racism a laughing matter if we with the income we have now?
In this current, especially in this current society, absolutely not. But I feel that a huge reason of that is because Black people in whole vote blindly democratically, and a lot of the Democrats that's in control of cities are stealing money from it. They're sending it to overseas. They're allowing they're giving it to the migrants that's coming in. There's a reason why we're in this situation now. And most Black people, some years ago, as far as from what I've experienced, some years back, a lot of Black people were doing good. We were well off. But then once all of the emotions got involved, everybody blindly voted Democrats across the board. And now we got this guy that's in office, and the economy crashed.
What are you talking about?
That's not by coincidence.
When did the economy crash, sir?
Come on, man. How much is milk? Gas went up to $6-7.
Inflation went up. So when did the economy crash? Are you talking 2008?
So if everybody is struggling right now, is the economy not crashing?
Who's everybody struggling? You're not. You're going off of feelings. You're not giving stats.
I think he's being clear when he say the economy crashed, bro. Like there was.
He's not being clear though. And see, these are the discussions where we get off the rails. If you had your stuff in the money market now, you're doing it better than 18%, 20%. So the market has not crashed. So speak what you know. As for you saying the Democrats is the worst side, both steal. When under Trump, you let a whole bunch of Blacks out, but never gave them direction.
I'm not saying that both don't steal. What I'm saying is that
you were so one-sided on Democrat. Your whole argument was Democrat was bad. Was it not?
Blindly because with something that we don't even look into and understand. That's what I'm saying.
Vince, can I ask you a question? If we didn't vote blindly, do you think that would improve us?
Yes.
So a system would work, is what you're telling me.
I never said. Come on, man. We can't even move on,
Marcus, if we didn't vote blindly, we'd have to go independent. You understand? Because Democrat didn't work for us. Republican didn't work for us. They work for their own vested interests. That's why all those senators and those representatives are stinking rich.
Man, hey, get
I'll
with
say
the
this though.
program or get left. That's how
I'll
the
say this.
game.
What's that?
I said, get with the program or get left. That's how the game goes. That's
And
the blunt.
that's exactly what they
reality
say
of
in the
life.
barbershop
Nah,
when they
you
don't
know
have
what?
they don't have the knowledge on what's going on.
He's
You
got a point.
understand?
Viz got a point with that. So I'm not going to tell anybody to vote Democratic or Republican, right? But you know what I will say is the dumbest thing that we could do as a people is to tether ourselves to one particular party, because when you look at what's happening and where these people actually campaign, it's only in the 6 or 7 states that are swing states. The people who votes they don't know they have. When Republicans see us, they ain't gonna vote for us.
So you don't think we should have
When Democrats see us, they're gonna vote for us anyway. So F them.
Vote for
if they don't know. What's that?
I want to hear Darwin. Go ahead,
That
Darwin.
contract Ice Cube tried to get everybody saying would it work?
Ice Cube is looking for his own vested interest.
It has the potential, but I don't think Ice Cube is the guy. Right? I mean, if he could rally enough people, he could rally a certain demographic of people. But
works for him and his business.
This is
true.
This is how the Democratic Party thinks of us. They talk to Cardi B and Glorilla.
Yeah.
That alone, that alone should say a lot about what it is that they think about us.
Okay, so
we go and blindly vote Democrat because our mama and daddy told us to.
Okay, I'll go with your story. I'll go with your story since you believe everybody goes by that. So, would you like Trump back in office? Just a question.
I would.
You would.
I would, absolutely.
So you can get free stimmy checks.
I'm not worried. I'm not thinking about
so that the rich can get richer.
If do you want to remain poor? I don't know if you're poor or whatever your status is. Do you want to remain poor, or do you want to? You know what I'm saying? That's the logic and concept.
Viz.
If I have a desire to become wealthy, so that I can provide for my family and generations to come, why would I not team with the side that's pushing that?
Tell me what they're pushing that would make you rich. Go real quick. Just abridge it.
You just mentioned if I will vote for Trump and then you mentioned rich. That I'm just going off what
you mentioned rich. You said I don't know if you're rich or not. I'm listening to you. I want to know what you can define real quick about the Republican Party under Trump that would make you rich. Go.
I know that we wouldn't be in a state of inflation as to where we've sent over.
We're in a state of inflation from what he
possibly
did.
Over $150 billion to a country in which Trump was openly saying that we're not going to continue to give money to. So that's one.
Do you know that Trump pushed us over $30 trillion in debt? He started unregulating things.
Biden just sent over an additional $96 billion overseas. And you're talking.
It's good that you can read, but I don't think you know the goings on. What happened from when?
Regardless
came out of office and
all
turned
of
it
that,
over
bro.
to Trump.
Regardless of all of that,
You can't do that. That's disingenuous.
I can't do that because this conversation won't go. It's not going to go anywhere. I feel how I feel. You feel how you feel.
No, I can back mine with stats.
That's fine, bro. You can drop whatever stats, and that's cool.
So stats don't mean nothing to you.
My mentality.
Hold on, Viz, my bad.
All that I'm saying is that we as Black people, we need to come together and overcome the system.
Okay,
so that we can be profitable and understand that there will be people that is going to jump on board, and there's going to be people that won't.
You know what? It's a guy that
save everybody.
he brought that same rhetoric in the barbershop to me. He's like, well, he let out my cousins and my brothers. I said, okay, what programs were put in place by good old Trumpito that would keep them from reoffending? None. He knew exactly how to give you the chicken and watermelon while he was giving the big companies the tax breaks, putting us more in debt, undoing regulation that was during the Obama time to keep us from crashing. And now we're 34 trillion or somewhere up there.
We need a program to not reoffend. To not kill somebody again. We need a program.
If you don't, okay, so I'm glad you're asking questions, Darwin. Please take the knowledge.
Okay,
if you don't have skills to go out in the workforce and stay viable as someone out here,
you're more likely to
reoffend. Say you're more likely to reoffend and go back in.
So can you give me an example where precisely to where I would come out of jail and I'm more likely to reoffend?
If you're labeled a felon, a lot of places are not employing you. I was lucky the phone company employed me because they were getting a certain incentive for every year I stayed out of trouble. They would get $75K.
Okay, so let me ask you.
That's an anomaly.
So let me ask you this. You're saying that my freedom after I done got in trouble and got free relies on a system to keep me from going back in.
Bruiser,
everything is systematic in this country.
How
are you going to eat?
Know the data and
I don't know about the other felon guys on here. I was a convicted felon. I had an F on my record. Did I allow for that to stop me?
What?
Absolutely not. And by the grace of God, by me staying out of jail, not getting into further trouble, just so happened the Illinois Supreme Court passed a law saying that my charge was unconstitutional.
What the?
So I ended up getting a second chance.
What?
This was just recently. Now, Matt, this is just recently. I still went 12, 15 years of being a felon and never going back to jail. So again, if I can do it, and I know plenty of guys that has went down the same route. If I can do it, then why can't the next man?
I don't see how you jumped over a positive thing to keep the percentages low, even though jails are not privatized, so they make big money off of
positive, bro.
Okay, you're not listening. You just want to respond. I'm giving you.
Somebody is living the lifestyle and they make the decision.
So he's not trying to listen. He just wants to respond. I'm giving you facts. You giving me feelings.
I'm not giving you feelings, nigga.
Where can I find your stats?
Bro, I know men that's in the streets, bro, that do it.
What is
and
that?
The niggas that go back to jail have the mentality that they don't want to change it. They content with it. That's the lifestyle that they want.
Fizz, I think the only thing that you're ignoring is that it sounds like you seem like you feel like you've pulled yourself up by your own bootstraps and you're ignoring the help that you had along the way from the system. Like you just talked about how Illinois, helped you out and said something.
Bro, that was after I gained the success that I have achieved.
How did you get there? How did you gain the success?
Yep, I want to hear.
By putting in the work. That
kind of work. How you got to where from?
What kind of work?
Getting out to where? Yeah.
Wrap this out for us.
By reading books, by changing my mentality, by changing my circle.
There's a lot of
all
this is vague.
Hired you. Go.
I hired myself.
Wait, so you started
hired? Why you can't just go rate leads?
Wait, so you started.
Damn, y'all, do y'all hear yourself?
No. I'm asking. This is genuine. This is genuine. I'm simply asking,
man.
I'm asking,
bro. Let's get real.
Hold on, wait. Chill, bro.
That's unfair because I gave you a blueprint of where I started to how I got here. You didn't do the same, so it's fair for us to ask that question. I said I came out I did messenger color proofer. I took tests for phone company. I got in phone company, told them the truth. They said, look, we have an incentive. As long as you stay out of trouble, we get this. Quid pro quo. I stayed out of trouble.
Man.
You know what my
I asked
people crossing the
tell
border.
how your path went.
Hold on, Bruiser.
This was my incentive that they gave me. The incentive that the system gave me was that if we see you again, you're doing 15 years.
Okay,
that was
so
more than enough for me.
So
that's a good
but how did you
fuck around and find out?
Hold on, wait, no.
Listen, you got illegal immigrants coming in this country and making their way like, man.
Bruiser, wait.
You wonder why I call you slow.
We understand how hard it is, man. The recidivism rate is 70%. So most people, that's in the United States. It's just one of them things. Most people go out. If you don't end up back in there, then you're in good company.
Has anybody else on the panel been in jail? Has anybody else on the panel been in jail?
We got victim mentality conversation.
Hold on, wait, y'all, because y'all ignoring something that Kenny said. He said put policies in place that don't get that help offenders not reoffend. They just said Trev just gave the number 70% reoffend. There's things that you can put in place that like you can take away things like certain felonies shouldn't count against you. That will be a thing that will help somebody not reoffend. You can do things. You can do things like convict release programs that put people back in the system, that put people back in back in employment when they get out.
You know, or like what Larry is doing in Illinois with Larry's Barber College. I mean,
like these are real things that can actually real policies that can be done to change to lower that number where the recidivism rate could drop down damn near 30-40% just from a few changes. That's all Kenny is speaking to, is changing, is doing things that the system can change that can help. I get what you're saying, Biz, as far as individual efforts. There are a lot of people that make it off of individual effort. I'm not denying that. But when you look at an entire group of people, and you look at an entire system and you're recognizing that system is a failure to its people, you have to do something about the system.
It's not. Hold on. Let me just say one thing. Let me say, I'm not even joking. It's not because show me one case, and I've seen it, and I've actually followed the Innocence Project. Show me one case where a person was sentenced for years for a crime he ain't doing, he fucking reoffended. It doesn't happen. The reason why these motherfuckers getting out of jail and reoffending,
I don't kill they damn selves.
No, I'm talking about reoffending, doing the same crime. It doesn't happen. I'm saying these people that's reoffending, it's because they surrounded themselves around the same people in the same circumstances.
You know that the Innocence Project, most of those people, like, they don't help. There's a lot of people, probably majority of the people who are innocent are still in jail.
They can't get to every case. I get that. I'm not gonna argue with you on that one. But I'm saying that what system is better than a system that says if your ass do the crime, you're gonna do the time.
What about a system that, man, look, hey, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think any of us is actually qualified to really have this conversation.
About what? Speak for yourself. So
I'm talking about systematic issues and how we're supposed to solve it. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. The way that we're attacking this
is coming from me actually running the streets and being around niggas that run the streets still to this day. The guys that stay in that situation are willingly doing such. They are content.
And Vince, that's where I say BS.
Let me finish, bro. They are content with this lifestyle. I've experienced it hands on, and we see it every single day.
Okay, let me ask you.
I'm not speaking from a place of not knowing.
Let me finish, bro. Let me just finish. right now in our culture, if the reoffender is 70%, right now in our mainstream culture, it is cool. It's a badge to go to jail, bro.
Fuck out of here, man.
What?
You gotta
Bro, are
take
you
into
that
account that some
disconnected,
people yeah, both of us are saying the same things. Some people learn from consequences. Some people learn from, if you do this again, you're gonna get locked up for life. And there's other people that learn from grace and mercy. So things being put in place that gave them a second chance. There's
There's
room for
so
both.
are we
Neither
saying that
side is
there's
wrong,
no
neither side is
programs like
right.
that?
What'd you say?
Are you saying that there's no program set for felons that's coming home to?
Yeah, they do. They got them inside the prison. It's
You,
called
you, you're
therapeutic community.
completely out of tune, then, bro.
It's called therapeutic community.
Bruiser.
And they got alcohol anonymous and narcotic anonymous.
Get the word out.
Narcotics
What are you
Anonymous.
talking about?
They have. So you ain't never heard of therapeutic community? Didn't you do 15 years?
It's simple.
Golly.
Yo, there's certain adult conversations. You need to go to the kiddie table with your little cup. And I know you're smart. I know it's in there.
That's why you ain't got no neck.
That's why I ain't got no neck. Nah, I got a neck, baby.
Hold on, pause, bro. Hold up.
I'm 50 and heterosexual. Oh, he disappeared again.
We talking about a situation that we have a culture that supports this when most people don't actually participate in the thing that we say that we support. Most people aren't criminals.
Who's the 70%, bro?
He gave you, see, we
Who's the
don't want to
70%, bro?
Recidivism is meaning that once you come out, you're likely to reoffend and go back in.
Why?
And those are stats, not feelings. That's why I challenge what you said.
And the vast majority of those are because they are probably because they're on probation or something like that, and they get reoffend and they violate for some dumbass fucking reason.
For smoking weed and pissing hot.
Okay,
whose fault is that, man? Is that the system fault?
You are helping him
system,
make
the
the argument.
Say, hey, when you come home, don't do X, Y, and Z, and you go and do X, Y, and Z. Who fault is that?
At the end of the day, if there are more programs out there to keep someone out of jail,
they'll still do it.
Productive member of society that actually works for our benefit economically, GDP wise. Hey, Darwin, remember that word? And it helps us as a country. You understand? When you tell me, you know a lot of guys on the street, I'm not doubting you. But then I would ask the question, Viz, is it a minority or majority? Do you know the numbers? Is it a minority, your vicinity, the guys you know, or is it on a whole? And I pose that question to you.
You saying is it on the whole or
you said because the way you phrase it, I know a lot of guys that run the streets. That is it a minority or majority?
That's still running the streets.
Oh, you went on a whole diatribe saying that these guys
I'm
don't really do anything.
I'm asking the question to clarify so I can give you the answer. I'm
going off of what your diatribe went about. I know a lot of guys that still run the streets, and that's what they like, and that's it. And all.
Diatribe.
Is it a minority or majority?
That's still running the streets. I'm asking a very simple question to clarify what you're saying.
Is out of the guys that you said that got out of prison, you said that you know that you know a lot of guys who are still running the streets because they want to go back or whatever reason. Are you saying that is the majority of the people who get out, or the minority?
I'm saying that the guys that I know that went in jail and came out, the majority of them went back again. And the reason why they went back is because they didn't step away from the lifestyle that got them in there. It's that simple.
So you're okay. I got you, Viz.
Watch. So I got violated by the gang task force because I was walking down the street. and I didn't do a thing, they was harassing me. So this don't necessarily correlate, bro.
Okay,
I'm not
watch
saying that's
this.
how everybody happened, but it.
So did they have those guys that went back to doing the same things? Did they have a lot of? Did they have relevant options in
Yes.
place where that they could have went and did A,
Yes.
B, and C rather than all of them?
Yes. Absolutely. There's no lack of resources. If you can't get a job, a lot of guys I know started landscaping businesses.
Everybody ain't doing landscaping.
Well, everybody not gonna make it too, Kenny.
Damn, you can't cut grass, nigga.
You know what I'm saying?
Everybody, I didn't know you could cut grass without a lawnmower.
Man, you better figure that
You
shit out.
can't get a lawnmower. Come on, Sweeney,
Now,
man. Come on,
you
man.
know how much a lawnmower costs?
Bro.
Bro, you
If
just
don't know
start
how
off.
to go get no money, then what are you? If you're a man and you don't know how to go get no money, then what are you?
Why? Okay, let me ask you a question. So let's say
What does that mean?
Hold on, wait, Kenny. Let's say, for instance, a felon went in for a bullshit drug charge. He had a little weed on him, got a felony for it, right? He's on probation for it. You telling me that a program that allows him to work as a felon, i.e., he can go out into the regular workforce and that felony doesn't hurt him, is worse than him going to go try to find and pick up a lawnmower?
Wait, what?
Let me rephrase the question. A person that got a bullshit drug charge because he had weed on him, got a felony. You're telling me that a program that does not hold that felony against him and puts him in a position where he can go out and get a job like any other normal person when he goes back out into the workforce is better than a situation where he has to go find a lawnmower and start a landscaping business?
I'm not sure what
It depends on what this. It depends on what this.
Kenny, you get what I'm asking?
It depends on what this policy or this system that you saying it's going to be a better option than go find a lawnmower. Like
he's treated like a normal citizen when he gets out.
So you're saying felons should be treated like a normal citizen when they get out?
Yes, they paid what they owed. Yes, they paid what they owed. You got time for what you did. Once you're out, you paid what you owed.
So let me ask
should
you
be held against you.
Let me ask you. Okay, I follow you. So let me ask you this: if you own a company, a sales company, and you selling things, and the person that just got out of prison, he's in jail for stealing the company's money, working in a sales position, are you gonna hire him?
There's certain jobs.
No, that's not.
No, man.
Don't disrespect my diatribe.
I don't hear you. What?
Don't disrespect my diatribe. Now listen. Answer the goddamn question.
So you want me to answer it the way you want me to answer it?
No, I'm asking you a simple question.
Yes or no question, bro. Would you hire somebody that has a felony for stealing money? Yes or no?
For stealing the company's money.
Okay, that wasn't your question, Viz, and you stated it wrong. Restate it, Darwin.
That was the question.
That is the question. No, you won't. My point. That's my point.
All right, so what does that? So what does that have to do with?
What does that have to do with a plethora of jobs?
So y'all can't even treat him like a normal citizen, but y'all want these that don't even look like you to treat. Man,
so
you know what, Darwin, I can make you feel stupid.
Now let me
one of the
say
things.
this,
Hold on, Viz. Since you want to piggyback with him, one of the things that I had to fight for my financial license is because I had a felony with a gun charge, and with a financial license, you can be denied by certain companies. But I got vouched for by a VP at Telecom, and I also had to write a whole report, bring everything to the legal department so that they can look over and decide whether or not I would be in a financial industry.
So Kenny, did they approve it?
It took 13
yes or no?
months. Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
then. So what's the problem?
Okay, you know what the problem is?
Congratulations.
I'm able to answer straight questions. You go on
Congratulations,
soliloquy, then
bro.
avoid what we asked.
You didn't answer my question.
I just did.
He did just answer your question.
He did just
He actually
answer.
used his real life. He used his real life as an
He got cooked. He just said that he had to do the additional work due to him being a felon and making the decision that he made to become a felon to now be approved to get a position in which he wanted.
So basically, he just agreed that there is, in fact, a system. You just have to, you as a felon have to do more work
to answer that part of your question.
For the job, right?
I was given a chance.
He was
rather
given
than have preset programs put out there where you can at least put someone on probation. It's at their discretion once you carry that felony tag, unless it's expunged from your record. You walk around with a felony tag.
Okay, here's the better
question. Viz, hold on. Viz, you're so smart. You walked around, you said 12 to 15 years with a felony tag on you, and I got it expunged. And you talk about you read books.
No, I couldn't get it expunged until they passed the law, which was 12 to 15 years later.
Okay, here's what you do. Here's what you do. I don't believe you.
Look it up.
You posted.
Look it up. Aggravated UUW in Illinois.
Watch this.
You sitting in front of the computer, your phone, whatever it is.
No. Hold on, Viz. Hold on. You posted in King Talk, and I will review it. And if I'm wrong, I will give you an apology. But I don't believe you.
Look it up. Why do I have to post it?
No, you said there was a certain precedent.
You don't believe.
I want you to stand on your word.
I believe me. I know it's a fact. Look it up, bro.
Okay, which state?
Aggravated.
Which state?
Aggravated.
No. I don't want to hear that. I know you have a felony. That's all I need. Which state?
Illinois. Go ahead, look it up. The Illinois Supreme Court ruled it unconstitutional. Look it up.
Okay, you can continue. I digress.
What was the felony?
It was an unlawful use of a weapon. I got caught with a pistol.
Hey, look, man. All I gotta say.
Wait. You said Illinois. You got caught with a pistol in Illinois?
That's what probably the worst state to get caught outside of Cali.
Was it legal? Did you like legally own it? Was you out of?
That's why I got charged. No.
Wait. So hold on. Wait.
Why would he get charged if he legally owned this, Winnie?
You still can get charged if you legally own it.
No, that can happen. That can happen in Illinois with those rules they got over there.
He said that it was deemed unconstitutional. I'm trying to figure out what was the unconstitutional part of it.
So
don't get your business out like that, man.
No, this is to make anyone else that may be in that position to be aware of it. What it was, I had a pistol on my person. So by your constitutional right is that you are able to have to protect yourself with a firearm. So what made my case unique was the fact that it was an aggravated charge by it being on my person.
Hold on, wait.
In Illinois, you have to have, in order to purchase a firearm, you have to have a FOID card. You have to get the permission from the state. Now, that doesn't validate you being able to carry it outside on the streets. You need a whole separate license for that.
Right.
Still carry license.
I didn't
permit,
You didn't get get
what year were you talking about? Give me the year.
No, Kenny. No, they did do this. They
got convicted in 2007.
And with the 720 IS stuff. So they did remove a whole lot of people felonies. That did happen. Because I went and got my record pulled after they removed and they took it off.
So come on, man.
You never got it expunged.
The excuses sound good only to the person that's giving them.
So you didn't get it expunged.
I did get it expunged.
They lawfully removed it. I'm reading.
You say they what?
Okay, that's the same thing you did with the GDP thing with that tight ass hat.
It's
You understand?
expunged.
You lack knowledge. It was just cleared. You did not go. You did not put forms in to get it expunged. It was cleared by law. Oh wait, I did go to John Jay of Criminal Justice. Boom Bruiser, another school that you didn't go to. Go kick rocks.
Yeah, technically, you
did not get it expunged. It got cleared by law.
There was a law that changed.
No paperwork in to get it expunged. Yes or no, Viz?
Yes, I did paperwork. How are you gonna tell me what I experienced?
I asked you, and I'm gonna ask again. Did you put in expungal paperwork in, or did you get it cleared by the law that was stated here?
I had to file a motion to get my record expunged and sealed.
Okay.
I had a lawyer.
What year did you do that?
2018, 19, something like that.
When has this man lied to y'all, bro? Like, y'all really can't believe this too?
Well, what I gotta lie about, man? Come on, man.
I guess what Kenny is asking.
That man a benefit of
No. I guess what Kenny is asking is that he's basically trying to figure out did he get it expunged or did the law change and it just all you have to do is submit the paperwork.
I had to submit. I just said I had to submit the paperwork to file a motion to get my records expunged and sealed. That's what the lawyer told me.
And he had a lawyer. See how that man doing? That man ain't make no excuses. That man went in.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Did you still have the felony when you did this?
Oh.
Hold on, wait. There's a reason why I'm asking this. There's a reason why I'm asking this.
Now they go ask
hold on, wait. No, there's a difference. I'm about to ask. Hey, look, I'm asking. Hold on, wait. There's a reason why I'm asking this, Viz. Because, like, say for instance, the law changed, right? And you no longer had a felony, but maybe it was still on record, and you was like, and I'm just asking for clarification, and you were like, hey, I don't even want that record to be available to the public because it was unconstitutional. Is that what you mean? Or were you still considered a felon and had to get that removed?
So I can only assume by this being a system in a nation of what 50 million people or whatever it is, the only way that they would know that, okay, this guy has a felony that's unconstitutional and we should remove it, is by me saying, hey, I'm not a felon because the Illinois Supreme Court said such and such. So the same way that y'all put the paperwork in to say that I'm a felon, you now have to do the paperwork to say, hey, this person is not.
No, they removed it without it when they did the sweeping legislation over those things, and it took them like 3 years to do the first round. They was moving step by step because they was doing it by like the last names.
Are y'all saying so? Are y'all saying that anybody who got a felony can get it expunged now because of that?
Regarding that specific law,
specific felony.
For that specific law in Illinois.
Oh, and for that state, but not
right. Right. It was the Illinois Supreme Court.
But have you pulled your federal record? It's probably still on there.
So there is something still showing that I had a case, but people can't see it. They just see that there was a charge there, but it's not open.
Yeah, that's what mine said too.
All right, so okay.
All right. So we good now?
Kenny, good? I think he's looking it up.
How you doing? Busy phone baby Zaddy Fat says, here's a better question. Who is responsible for plugging the holes?
You are.
AB says ninjas worry about everything than going back to the motherland.
Ain't nobody trying to go back over there.
What?
I bet you.
Y'all want to go? Darren, you want to go back to Africa?
Hell no! What the hell I look like?
I had reparations. I'll go.
Man.
Why would I go over there?
Yeah, like
I mean, I'll go over
there. I mean, not my bad. Hey, Viz, if they asked you to vote yes on reparations, are you voting no?
Don't do it, cause I'm gonna unfollow you as soon as you do.
If you say you gonna vote no, man, we removing you from the King Talk group.
I mean, I'm not saying that I'm against reparations. I simply feel that it is it's a waste of energy for us to invest our time, effort, and whatever funds it is that we do have into that battle. I think that we can invest that into something that is much more, that'll be much more profitable in the long run, because the issue isn't necessarily money for us, it's mentality, it's mindset.
That's
so
absolutely false.
And also influence.
Absolutely false.
So hold on, Viz, are you gonna if a check arrived in your mail for reparations, say, hey, look,
you gonna send that shit back?
Oh, I'm gonna cash it.
No, you gonna send back?
I never said that.
Before you go for your reparations check, you best look in the back chat.
You say what?
Before you go for your reparations, you best look in the back chat. 2017, huh?
You say in the back chat?
That man want to debunk somebody so bad. Just go and look at it.
Man, you know what? Reading them is fundamental.
Hey, I don't know what none of that legal mumble jumble means.
No, it states it as soon as you scroll down, it tells you when. So why'd you wait till 2017, 18?
Bro,
your story doesn't correlate.
Dude, are you not even? Come on, man.
Okay, Sweeney, did you look at it?
You sent me something about expungement.
Viz, Kenny the type of nigga that'll represent himself on a case. He can't win.
So Sweeney, so am I wrong? You waited till 2017?
That nigga said, you waited 2 hours to arrest me, nigga?
No,
Sweeney, it's not me saying it now.
Can y'all go and look and actually
wait, read it.
This says expungement. I'm talking about an exact charge. This says nothing about the exact charge, bro. Come on, man. Come on, bro.
That covers everything regarding expungement.
Viz, you gotta understand, Kenny the type of nigga that if he get pulled over the cops, he can be like, "What? Hold on, why'd you pull? Hold on, how did you see me? Why was you parked over there? You should have been.
No.
This is entrapment.
This is entrapment. Hold on, wait, Kenny, you misunderstood.
What I misunderstood from the conversation.
I'm explaining. So I get what you're saying. That what you just shared is basically them saying that Illinois granted people the right to submit requests to have their records expunged.
Read. It gave particulars.
It's a caveat to it, Kenny. They had to include that in the charges that they would allow you to remove.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, what Viz is saying that it wasn't until 2018, where your particular charge was a thing you can actually get expunged.
Exactly.
You heard the charge he said, right? Aggravated what?
UUW.
Aggravated unlawful use of a weapon.
We don't need an acronym. Tell us the charge.
Aggravated unlawful use of a weapon.
He just said it to you.
So now, the particulars in that, what does it say?
Read it.
Let's see. Hold on. Wait.
He told that nigga.
Now you can't read. You got glasses.
Why do I have to read it if I live through it, bro? That don't even make sense.
Hold on. Wait. I'm trying to. All right. Where exactly am I supposed to be reading that?
Yeah, that was a gut punch. Read it, nigga.
Like, come on, man. Y'all been hilarious tonight. I can't hold you.
This is crazy.
Yeah,
now you can't read.
I'll be mad as fuck if I told somebody.
Kenny, what are you supposed to be reading?
Well, damn, I can't even put it in the other chat.
That man got that Nigerian translator over there.
Getting started. Hold on, wait. Let me click on getting started.
Let me see if I can read quicker. So let me see. Beginning January 1st, 2001, Illinois law was amended to permit people with qualifying arrest, felonies, misdemeanors, supervisions, and misdemeanor convictions to ask the court to either expunge or seal the records related to their cases. The law is designed to let people clear their records with or without an attorney. On this page is the associated links. The clerk of the City Court of Cook County provides helpful information to assist customers in clearing the records. That was so hard for you to read.
Oh no, that's
no.
Kenny, that's what I was trying to explain to you. Wait, Kenny, that's what I was trying to explain to you. The thing that he could get expunged wasn't available to be expunged until 2018 because it was deemed unconstitutional in 2018.
Okay, so that means he didn't have a lawyer then.
Well, no, what that means is that what that means is that what you just put didn't apply it to him.
It was
until
a felony.
2018. Yes,
that
but it was
he could afford it back then.
They tougher than the prosecutor you had to deal with, ain't it?
God damn.
God damn.
Unless you're saying why did he just fight to get it expunged without needing
you're not even eligible for expungement until 7 years after completion of your sentence.
Okay, so now we got to know how long his sentence was and when did he get out?
Viz, now you have
the caveat of the time.
Kenny ain't about to lay it up on that shit.
So, wait, you got out at 07, right?
If you would have had Kenny as your attorney, you can't do that.
You got out at 07, right?
I just put the article in the private chat, man. Go ahead and read it, bro.
Did you? Let's see. The Supreme Court decision was issued in September 2000.
Nothing can.
It says the Supreme Court.
Sweetie, you could present that on your screen, right?
2013.
The
High Court decided the appeal of People versus Aguilar.
So that proves what I just said was that while he's allowed to expunge his record because they ruled that felons can expunge their records without an attorney. His particular case, he wasn't even able to even expunge it until 2013. Simply on the strength that it was deemed unconstitutional in 2013 to make it, I guess, essentially easier for him to be able to expunge it.
So
technically, could he have it expunged or fight to have it expunged? Yes, but knowing Illinois, the likelihood of having something expunged, knowing Illinois that you actually committed the crime and it's still lawful is slim to none. Like, it's not very easy to get your records expunged.
It's not.
No, there's a reason why Viz had to wait until it was unconstitutional. That shit's hard. It's hard to get your record expunged. If you committed the crime and you served the time, and
so is it safe to say, regardless of the degree of difficulty, Viz saw all the obstacles and he was still able to push through. And what he's trying to say is,
no, that is not the same thing because his was deemed unconstitutional.
This was after I found success, though, bro. That's my point. Statistically, I was supposed to fail on every level. Statistically, I should have been a reoffender. But due to the fact that I sought to become a better version of me and not allow for this F to hinder me and hold me back, on top of, I will never ever forget it. I'm in the probation office and they look at and the probation officer tell me, if we see you again, you're doing 15 years minimum.
How many years was you on probation?
2 years.
Was that the only charge? I mean, was that your only?
I was a first time offender.
Damn, you was a first offender?
This was my first real actual case. Other than that, little, off us fighting, they'll hold us for a minute, let us go, whatever. The shit won't be on the record. This was my first real.
So you was a first offender.
I was a first offender.
My first time under probation.
And all you did was carry a gun.
So they gave me 2 years probation. I did a little time before I bonded out. Once I copped out, they put me on probation. Went to the probation office, and the lady looked me in my face while I'm signing it. She said, "Now, if we see you again, you're doing a minimum of 15 years."
How old was you?
Why you didn't take the plea?
I did take a plea.
No, I'm saying, why did you take a plea? Why you ain't fight it?
Because his ass was gonna serve 15
Because of
years.
this system. Because of this system.
He was gonna serve.
The nigga knew he was wrong.
No, because of the system. He know the stats.
His ass was gonna serve 15 if his ass didn't take that plea.
Yeah, if he would have had lawyer money, I think it probably would have worked
Hell
out.
no, they wouldn't.
I had a lawyer.
That lawyer was gonna tell him a cop a plea. His lawyer would have sat there and told him, "You better take that 2 years of probation, because if you try to fight this shit, you serving 15."
You had a paid lawyer?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, this paid lawyer told him to do that shit.
Mine did too. That's why I'm saying it's a system.
That nigga know damn well if he would have tried to fight that shit, his ass would be in jail till 20.
But there is no fighting it. The when I got flagged, I had it on my body. It was on my person.
You was caught.
I'm caught. What am I fighting? You got me. That's part of the game. If you playing the game, you get caught. Oh, all right, bet. So man said I gotta lay in it.
But their cases.
Were you a model citizen at this time, or was you a street ninja?
I was in it.
Oh yeah, he was gonna go down at one point.
But
I'm saying though,